studios in Memphis, Tennessee, border to border, coast to coast across the fruited plain. Border coast to coast across the fruited plain. And you've got about, they're saying anywhere between 10 and 30,000 conservatives are gathered in Phoenix for AmFest. And this is the first AmFest since Charlie was assassinated. Charlie Kirk was assassinated. Big event for Turning Point USA. Erica Kirk says that her husband considered this to be his Super Bowl. And so a lot of people are turning out, some pretty emotional speeches, some pretty moving speeches, and it is very exciting to see so many young people especially that are fired up. They're passionate about the conservative movement. They're passionate about this country, and they want to make America great again. And that is something that really, really encourages me and gives me hope for the future. And we're going to play a lot of audio from today's AmFest. Well, it started last night. We'll go through the weekend. And also, we're going to be talking to some folks, boots on the ground. Michael Wilson, our friend from Patriot Talk 920 in Houston, is at AmFest, and he'll check in with us. Also, Jackson Heberlin from the University of South Carolina, or rather Clemson, is going to be joining us. He's the president of the TPUSA chapter there, and we'll be getting some intel, some reports, boots on the ground from Jackson a little bit later. Also, Joe Messina going to drop by, our good buddy, every Friday. Joe weighs in on what's been happening out on the left coast. But I want to start here with some of the speeches last night, and I posted an item that's getting a little bit of chatter on social media, rather, and I want to go through some of the things that have raised some alarm bells, because right now there's something very ugly happening, and it's unfair to every student. It's unfair to every conservative. Any of you who have given money to TPUSA, who have backed a lot of these conservative social media influencers, it's unfair to all of you. And it is incumbent upon somebody in the conservative world to call out what happened last night, because this is a dangerous game that the conservative media influencers are playing. And I'm talking about folks like Candace Owens and Tucker Carlson and Megyn Kelly and Ben Shapiro. It is unseemly, and I understand that everybody wants to be the next Charlie Kirk. I get that. And it's almost as if this weekend is shaping up to be some sort of a gladiator style, winner takes all, fight to the death match to figure out who's going to replace Charlie Kirk. And I'm just going to answer that question for everybody and hopefully save everybody from a lot of blood, sweat, and tears. Nobody is. Not a single person in that room, on that stage, is going to replace Charlie Kirk, is going to be the next Charlie Kirk. We all have a role to play in the future of the country. And some people have large followings, and I think that's wonderful. We have a very large following, and I'm honored for that. But that doesn't make me the next Charlie Kirk. It did not make me the next Rush Limbaugh or Paul Harvey. I'm Todd Starnes, and Ben Shapiro should be Ben Shapiro, and Tucker ought to be Tucker. And go down the, you understand what I'm saying here. We have a very intelligent audience. So anyway, Ben Shapiro used his platform, and let me just, this will all make sense. This will all make sense at the end. But so I'll just walk through all of this. Ben Shapiro started out his speech by condemning every conservative influencer who has refused to condemn Candace Owens and Tucker Carlson and Megyn Kelly. And he said, if you have not used your platform, so in essence, he didn't say this, but in essence, he's saying, Todd Starnes, if you are not using your platform, your radio show, your massive digital presence to attack and disparage all of these people, then you're the problem. Now, I will just say that Megyn Kelly is free to say whatever she wants to say on her platform, and same with Candace and same with Tucker. We all have that right. And I think I've been pretty clear and pretty open on this show when I found something to be that I disagree with them on. But again, it's their show. I'm not going to nitpick their show. It's their show. They have an audience because people want to hear what they have to say, just like I have an audience, and you folks want to hear what I have to say. And by the way, these people know nothing about barbecue or any good eating, so you guys come to me for that as well. You're welcome, America. So I'm not sure why Ben Shapiro thinks, and let me just say this, that does not make good radio. I mean, if I spent 3 hours attacking Megyn and Tucker and Candace, well, you know what's going to happen? You guys are going to go start listening to Megyn, Tucker, and Candace to figure out what they're saying that's so offensive. But Ben Shapiro last night went after everybody. And it's interesting because when Charlie was alive, Ben was not welcome at Turning Point USA events. Just want to point that out. But he was invited yesterday, and he was given a very prominent position to attack everybody. Cut number 5, please.
It's the job of those of us who try to shape public opinion to hold politicians to account and to hold them accountable to our values. We must not let fear of audience deter us from telling the truth. We must not let fear of other hosts deter us from telling the truth. So, for example, if Candace Owens decides to spend every day since the murder of Charlie Kirk So, if Candace Owens decides to spend every day since the murder of Charlie Kirk casting aspersions at TPUSA and the people who work here, who worked with Charlie every single day, his best friends, to cast aspersions at Mikey McCoy and Andrew Colvin and Blake Neff and Tyler Boyer, and yes, at Erica Kirk, and to imply or outright claim complicity in a cover-up over Charlie's murder, to spew absolutely baseless trash implicating everyone from French intelligence to Mossad to members of TPUSA in Charlie's murder or a cover-up in that murder, then we, as people with a microphone, have a moral obligation to call that out by name. Erica Kirk and TPUSA never should have been put in the position to have to defend themselves against such specious and evil attacks, particularly in a time of mourning. And the people who refuse to condemn Candace's truly vicious attacks, and some of them are speaking here, are guilty of cowardice. Yes, cowardice. The fact that they have said nothing while Candace has been vomiting all sorts of hideous and conspiratorial nonsense into the public square for years is just as cowardly.
So, Ben Shapiro, so if I'm not attacking Candace Owens every day on this show and Tucker and Megyn, that makes me a coward, according to Ben Shapiro. Now, look, and I don't know where those, I mean, the way it's being framed is that they say Ben Shapiro eviscerated Candace Owens and the crowd erupted. Are they applauding him or booing? I don't know if they're applauding him or her or booing. It seemed like it was a mixed bag. I can't figure that out, but it really doesn't matter because it doesn't change my view on this. And I think that there's truth there, but the idea that I have to somehow stand up and turn my show over, stop talking about everything else that matters, like, for example, the drunk raccoon and the liquor store in Virginia, and I've got to shove that aside so I can just attack these, conservative influencers. Why would I do that? That's not what we do on the radio. And by the way, I'll get to that. I'll get to the whole point of the talk radio movement in just a moment. I've got a lot to say on this. So I don't necessarily disagree with the way he's interpreting the actions of Candace and Tucker and others, and we've been talking about those within certain stories and certain context. And I think it is important to have those conversations. But again, this idea that we've got to silence and deplatform people, I've got a big problem with a big problem with it. And by the way, Shapiro is out there, and as soon as he gets off the stage, well, they bring out Tucker Carlson, and well, we're going to play this, and it's a little long. You know what? We'll wait because I want to make sure you hear the entire thing. So we'll take a break, and then we'll get back to what Tucker had to say. But Tucker is now out there calling out all of you people who oppose Islam. And we've got the audio. We'll play it. You'll be able to hear it. He's also calling out all of you pastors who are supporting Israel, not condemning what's happening in Gaza. Tucker, I thought he was at the DNC. Honest to goodness, I'm hearing him speak, and I thought he was at the DNC. There's some crazy stuff going down. Crazy stuff going down at AmFest, and it's a mess. And here's what I wrote on X. We're going to take your calls on this, but I had a few questions after watching those speeches last night. And here's the reason why. Again, my mind is going a million miles an hour today over this, because this is a danger zone. It is a danger zone for the midterm elections. It is a danger zone for the entire conservative movement, and especially young conservatives who can become completely disenchanted and demoralized by the movement if this kind of garbage continues. Because right now, conservatism is a big business, and a lot of the names I've just named are really not conservative. They're not. They're just using the platform to make a fortune. That's what's going on here. So they really don't care if their rhetoric causes a division. They don't care if their rhetoric ends up dividing the entire party. They don't care about that. And it's not about fixing anything. It's not about educating the next generation, which is, by the way, what TPUSA should have been about all along. But if you've been deep into the movement, you've known for a very long time that Turning Point threw a great party. And they do. But that's not the point. The point is mobilization. So here are my questions as we go to break. Ben Shapiro is calling for these people to be deplatformed. So my question is he now volunteering to be the gatekeeper of the conservative thought movement? Are we going to form a committee to determine who gets deplatformed? And I'm just profoundly confused by Tucker's fondness for Islam. Is that authentic or is that paid? And how does that square with Charlie Kirk's view that Islam is not compatible with Western civilization? And you say, well, Todd, Charlie was all about the free exchange of ideas. No, actually he wasn't. And we're going to play some audio of Charlie literally castigating college kids for daring to ask questions that might offend people. We're going to play that audio so you can hear it for yourself. So my question is, how does Tucker's view square with what Turning Point USA believes? And does the conservative movement really want to embrace a crackdown on speech that might be offensive? I find much of what Tucker has been saying of late to be very offensive. But do I want to cancel Tucker Carlson? No, I do not. Doesn't the First Amendment protect even the vilest of speech, including those who twist the Bible to justify their hatred of the Jews? So maybe instead of deplatforming the Muslim apologist and the Jew haters, why don't we utilize tools that each of us already have available to us? It's something called the mute button, the unfollow button, and the unsubscribe buttons. And I just want to throw this out there, but is it very well possible that the entire conservative influencer culture, of which I am not a part, and I am proud to say it, is it possible the entire conservative influencer culture is just one big, giant grift? Our telephone number, 901-260-5926. Again, that's 901-260-5926. This is The Todd Starnes Show.
Hear what's happening from Todd along with the biggest newsmakers first on The Todd Starnes Show.
From fruits and veggies to fiber and spice, Balance of Nature supplements, changing the world one life at a time.
I'm a natural bodybuilder, so I know when something works and when something doesn't. I've tried so many different products. When I got your product, and like I said, I'm a natural bodybuilder. As soon as I got it, did them for a week, and I told my brother, I said, Rick, you need to try these. You know I won't give you nothing if it don't. He tried them, bam, the first day. He said, this is a good product. And I got my mom on them, and I just keep pushing your product. It's a great product. You're a great company, and everybody there I've talked to has been so kind. Great product. It does what it says it does.
Start your journey with Balance of Nature supplements today. Go to balanceofnature.com and sign up as a new preferred customer to get 35% off your first preferred set. Call 1-800-246-8751 or go to balanceofnature.com and get this special offer by using discount code TODD.
From director Sean McNamara comes Soul on Fire, based on a true story.
They said you had no chance, but here you are.
Starring Joel Courtney, John Corbett, Stephanie Shostak, Macy McLean, with Devon Franklin and William H. Macy.
If you focus exactly on loving the life that you're living right now, and not the life that you think you could have had or should have had, that's the whole deal right there.
Soul on Fire, rated PG. Parental guidance suggested. Now playing. For tickets, go to soulonfiremovie.com.
Soul on Fire.
For more than 12 years, Patriot Mobile has been on the front lines fighting for our God-given rights and freedoms while providing exceptional nationwide cell phone service with access to all three of the main networks. Patriot Mobile's all-U.S.-based support team is standing by to take care of you. Call 972-PATRIOT today or go to patriotmobile.com/Todd. Use promo code Todd for a free month of service. That's patriotmobile.com/Todd or call 972-PATRIOT, code Todd.
Balance of Nature's fruits and veggies supplements, changing the world one life at a time.
I'm a 70-year-old man. I'm not a young guy, and I'm an ex-athlete. Well, yeah, when I was taking it, I recognized that I was feeling better. You know what I'm saying? And just mentally knowing is important also.
I am a customer of you guys. I love your product. Love it, love it. Nothing but good things to say about your product. I love it. And as long as y'all are going to sell it, I'm going to take it as long as I can.
Start your journey with Balance of Nature supplements. Call 1-800-246-8751 or go to balanceofnature.com and sign up as a new preferred customer. And for a limited time, get 35% off your first order with free shipping and our money-back guarantee. Go to balanceofnature.com or call 1-800-246-8751 and get this special offer by using discount code TODD.
I learned patience from my adoptive dad. All he had to say was,
"Hey, you got this. Just breathe." Hey, we're pretty good.
Yeah.
Might have to start a band.
I got it.
Learn about adopting a teen from foster care. You can't imagine the reward. Visit adoptuskids.org to find out more. This message is brought to you by Adopt US Kids, the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, and the Ad Council.
Now more than ever, it's important to support companies and organizations that share our values. Patriot Mobile not only shares our beliefs, but they actually do something about it. America's only conservative Christian wireless carrier. And they donate a portion of every dollar to organizations that fight for causes you care about. Switch to Patriot Mobile now and use the promo code TODD to get free activation and a free gift. Veterans and first responders save even more. Go to patriotmobile.com/Todd or call 972-PATRIOT. That's 972-PATRIOT.
Most people out here think that taking care of one another is important. And most people would step up for a neighbor going through a tough time. Most people around here help out friends and family when they need it. But the funny thing is, most of us won't look for help when we need it. Talk to someone if you're struggling with mental health, because most people out here really care. Find more information at loveyourmindtoday.org. That's loveyourmindtoday.org. Brought to you by the Huntsman Mental Health Institute and the Ad Council.
My mom has taken up going to the park to practice yoga.
My dad's going to a club, but not a book club, a salsa club.
Finding new hobbies comes with age.
My mom has started getting lost and not knowing where she's going.
Becoming lost or disoriented doesn't. Confusion with time or place may be a sign of Alzheimer's. An early diagnosis can help improve the quality of life for your loved one. Learn the warning signs of Alzheimer's at 10signs.org. Brought to you by the Alzheimer's Association and the Ad Council.
All right, welcome back. It's no, I know. I'm getting a lot of hate mail. It's all good. I got reamed out by Speaker Mike Johnson's crew last night, so it's one of those weeks. But you know what? It is well worth it because we don't bow down to anybody on this radio program. We don't read off anybody's talking points. This is my opinion. You have your opinion. And we do not censor on this program. Let's go to Frank in North Carolina, starting off our day. Frank, what is on your mind?
I agree with you 100%. If we do not stand up for everyone's, and I mean everyone's constitutional right to speak freely, carry our weapons freely, if we don't stand up for their rights to speak what we totally disagree with, we're next, 100% next. History proves it, and history confirms it. And that's all I got to say about that.
Frank, when you hear somebody like a Ben Shapiro out there saying, we've got to start deplatforming these people, I mean, man, that is a dangerous place to be.
That is 100% true, because if we don't support their right to say whatever they want to say, once again, we are next. In fact, they're already trying to silence us and let them speak as they will. So, again, let them say what they want to say. You can mute them, you can unfollow them, you can do everything. And if you don't give them an audience, perhaps they'll shut up. But in the meantime, support their constitutional rights. Our forefathers died for it. Many, many men and women died for it, and our armed forces protecting our rights. We as citizens need to confirm that and honor that.
Frank, I appreciate you calling in, my friend. And look, folks, and here's the deal on this program. If you disagree with me, you go right to the top of the line because we love having those conversations here. But this conservative influencer war could very well damage our midterm elections, and it is bringing disunity to the party. And I'm not saying that we shouldn't be having these conversations, but my question to AmFest is, why would you platform some of these folks? Right? They've got their own giant platforms, so why are you mainstreaming a lot of these ideas? I mean, the idea, and Tucker Carlson is saying that, you know, that Christians are treated so well in Muslim countries. What is he smoking? This is insanity, just sheer insanity. All right, 901-260-5926, our telephone number. Again, that's 901-260-5926. By the way, you can watch the show over on our website, ToddStarnes.com, but we would prefer that you listen to us on the radio because we're a radio show. All right, hang tight, everybody. We'll be right back.
Mama, what does the chicken say?
Chicken. Oh, okay.
And the wolf?
Oh, a wolf. Ooh!
What about the tiny dog? Cat? Owl? Dolphin? What does the turkey say? Whale?
Whale sound.
Do the giraffe.
Giraffe, really? Okay. Giraffe. Giraffe.
You're not going to get it all right. Just make sure you nail the big stuff, like making sure your kids are buckled correctly in the right seat for their age and size. Get it right.
Visit NHTSA.gov/the right seat.
Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Hear that? That's the sound of your life. Perfectly imperfect. Beating in rhythm to the world you've created. But every time you drive after drinking, the music gets drowned out. Your life sounds pretty great. Don't let a buzz ruin it. Buzz driving is drunk driving. Don't drive buzzed. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Are you prepared for an emergency or disaster? Because it's not a matter of if, but when.
Don't find yourself saying,
I'll trust water bottles and a flashlight to save the day, but I'll be proved wrong.
With a tornado approaching, I'll realize that I like a wheelchair-accessible shelter.
When the floodwaters rise, I'll be up in the attic with 20 cans of beans. It's a recipe for disaster.
let's prepare so we all have a better story to tell. Get started at ready.gov/older adults. Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
Let's see, if something costs less, but people are happier with it, that sounds like something to look into, and that is MediShare. Maybe you've heard switching to MediShare to pay for healthcare can save many families up to $500 a month, and that is huge. But it's also true that people are way more satisfied after making the switch, too. The member satisfaction rate for MediShare is double that of the typical health insurance plan. Double. MediShare works, too. It's been around for 30 years. Members have shared more than $5 billion of each other's bills. People love having telehealth and a huge nationwide PPO network. So, yeah, really, you can save a ton and like it better. Imagine being happy with how you're taking care of your health care. So if you're self-employed or part of the gig economy, or you just want a plan you're happy with, you can call right now. You'll get a price within 2 minutes. So see what you can save. This is a very, very smart use of 2 minutes. Here's the number you need. Call 844-43-BIBLE. That's 844-43-BIBLE. 844-43-BIBLE.
You said you'd never buy your kid candy from the checkout aisle. Or forget extra diapers. And never give in to a meltdown. You'd never lick your thumb to clean their face. Never let them have too much screen time. And never bribe them for just one more bite. You say you'd never let them out in public without their hair brushed. Never, ever become a minivan mom. And you'd never give them your phone for a quiet dinner.
Calling boss work phone.
So when you say you'd never leave your child in a hot car, no, it can happen. Cars get hot fast, and kids can be at risk in temperatures as low as 60 degrees Fahrenheit. Never happens. Before you leave the car, always stop, look, lock. Brought to you by NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Babes, what are you doing?
What? I'm just mowing the lawn.
No, it's blazing hot and dry out here. Don't you remember? Smokey Bear says.
Avoid using power equipment when it's windy or dry.
Where'd you learn this?
Oh, it's on
SmokeyBear.com with many other wildfire prevention tips.
Right. Thanks, honey bear.
Because remember, only you can prevent wildfires.
Brought to you by the USDA Forest Service, your state forester, and the Ad Council.
What I know about courage, I learned from my adoptive mom. She said sometimes you just gotta hold on and know we'll get through this. Mom, we are so high up. Hold my hand.
No, you hold my hand.
Here we go.
Learn about adopting a teen from foster care. You can't imagine the reward. Visit adoptuskids.org to find out more. This message is brought to you by Adopt US Kids, the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, and the Ad Council.
All right, Merry Christmas to you, America. This is the Todd Stearns Radio Show, broadcasting across this great nation, and we're so honored that you are hanging out with us today. I want to go back to some things that Tucker Carlson said about, and this is pretty fascinating. He has done such a reversal and such a pivot on so many of the major issues over the years, and I don't know why. Look, he has to explain that to his followers and to his audience. But here's what Tucker had to say about, first of all, Ben Shapiro. And Ben Shapiro saying that you got to start deplatforming folks like Tucker. Cut number 8, please.
I just got here, and I feel like I missed the first part of the program. I hope I didn't miss anything meaningful. But I just want to say, I don't think I did. No, I'm just kidding. I watched it. I laughed. That kind of bitter, sardonic laugh that emerges from you when, like, Upside Down World arrives. When your dog starts doing your taxes and you're like, wait, it's not supposed to work this way. To hear calls for, like, deplatforming and denouncing people at a Charlie Kirk event, I'm like, what? This is hilarious. Yeah. This is hilarious. Actually, one of the clips I was listening to myself, thinking as I often do when I hear myself speak, which is never, because I never watch myself, but at these events they always play like the role of you. And I'm like, that guy is pompous. Woo! Sorry about that. We don't see ourselves clearly. But the prediction that, at some point when Republicans took power again, which I did everything I could, to help, and really felt that was important. I still think, I was right. But I really thought that the impulse to deplatform people, or even to use the word platform as a verb, which it's not, it's a noun, don't steal my nouns, deplatform and denounce. Why haven't you denounced somebody else? The whole Red Guard cultural revolution thing that we so hated and feared on the left that we did everything we could to usher in a new time where you could have an actual debate. I mean, this kind of was the whole point of Charlie Kirk's public life. And I think that he died for it. I really believe that. And I know a lot about it because the last several months of Charlie's life were devoted in part to arguing about this event, in fact, this speech, in fact, my speech here, which he asked me to do earlier this year, this summer, and was immediately put under just immense pressure from people who give money to Turning Point, I would assume good people, but who wanted him to take me off the roster. And this has all become public, and the whole thing is so sad that I never talk about it, except to say Charlie stood firm in his often stated and deeply held belief that people should be able to debate, and that if you have something valid to say, if you're telling the truth, you ought to be able to explain it calmly and in detail to people who don't agree with you, and that you shouldn't immediately resort to shut up racist. You shouldn't immediately go to motive. By the way, shut up racist is the #1 reason I voted for Donald Trump. And because I'm just sick of it. I mean, first of all, if I was a racist, if I was a bigot, I would just say so. Okay, it's America.
We're good there.
You're allowed to be.
All right, I want to play the part of what Tucker had to say. And look, I agree with Tucker there. I think, look, no matter how crazy your ideas may be, you have a constitutional right to spew your vile. That's my take on it. Here's Tucker speaking out against all of you Christians who may be supporting Israel. Take a listen to cut number 3, please.
Most people agree with that. Most Americans have more in common with each other than they disagree on. And almost everybody agrees on that. And almost everybody is willing to tolerate a good faith argument about how to get there. Except a few, and they're the ones running around calling everyone an anti-Semite. But everyone else is like, yeah, of course, that should be the debate. And they'll vote for you. They want that because they know they haven't had that. That's the fact. And what you're watching now, attacking people attacking millions of Americans because they're Muslims, it's disgusting. And I'm a Christian. I'm not a Muslim. I know there's a lot of effort to claim I'm a secret jihadi. I'm not. You should not attack people on those grounds, and you're seeing it from Republicans. What the hell are you doing? What you're doing is trying to divide the country, and I've lived through 50 years of this crap. All these fake race wars that they're always promoting. Oh, go hate each other while we loot the treasury. That's exactly what's going on, and most people are totally sick of that. So, yes, there is a possibility for a huge coalition of decent people once they free their minds from the traps set for them by others and realize, wait a second, we all want to make this country better. And the 15% or 30% who don't, okay. Good luck in Maryland or wherever you wind up. But the rest of us would like to fix it.
All right. So there you have Tucker Carlson. And he is definitely staking his point. Someone just texted me from AmFest, and they said, look, it's pretty much split. I mean, TPUSA is split between those who support Ben Shapiro and those who support Tucker Carlson. And again, if Ben Shapiro's got such a problem with platforming people, why didn't he, and hear me on this, and I mean this with, do not take this the wrong way, but Ben Shapiro is coming out there and attacking folks like us. Well, we're not the ones who platformed Tucker Carlson at Turning Point USA's AmFest. That would be Mrs. Kirk. So Ben Shapiro, if he's got a problem, he should have taken that up with her instead of attacking all the rest of us. But he he did not do that for whatever reason. And I don't care. I really don't care, folks. What I do care about is the movement. And the conservative movement has to work and it has to advance because we've got far too much at stake. And if you've got people like Tucker Carlson out there saying, "Oh, you know what? The Muslims, they're good people. Why are you hating on the Muslims?" I mean, this is insanity. Just insanity. 901-260-5926. Let's go to the phone lines. Our good buddy, Joe from LJ. Hi, Joe. What's going on?
Todd, listen, you have a great show, and I just want to wish you a Merry Christmas. You are a great fighter for Donald Trump and the American taxpayers, and I agree with you that everybody ought to be allowed to speak, and you certainly concur with that, and I just want to say how much I appreciate what you're doing for the conservative cause. You're definitely a conservative champion, and we love you down here in LJ, Georgia.
Well, Joe, I appreciate that. And look, I don't like having to take sides, and I'm not taking a side. I can't side with Ben Shapiro because I disagree with him. I disagree with Tucker Carlson as well. And again, that's the whole point of being a conservative is, you know what? You listen to all the arguments and you decide where you stand on it. That is your decision. I don't want anybody in the conservative movement telling me what I can and cannot think.
Well, you're doing a great job, and I want to wish you a Merry Christmas. I enjoy watching you on Newsmax, and you're doing an incredible job, and wish you a Merry Christmas. Keep up the great work you're doing.
Well, Joe, thank you for that, and we appreciate you and all of our great listeners. 901-260-5926. By the way, President Trump's going to be making an announcement from the White House in the next little while. We'll let you know what that's all about. We're also going to be taking your calls during the break. I will be answering your questions in our YouTube live stream. If you'd like to watch that, just go to toddsterns.com and you'll see all that information there. But watch us live in the break on YouTube. We'll be right back.
You're with Todd Starnes.
America doesn't need barbed wire or secret police to lose freedom. All it takes is silence. Live Not by Lies is a gripping docuseries by Angel Studios that reveals how soft totalitarianism is creeping into everyday life. Through powerful stories from people who lived under communism, it warns of what happens when we surrender truth for safety. This is a must-watch for anyone who loves faith, family, and freedom. Stream the series now, only on Angel Guild by visiting angel.com/Starnes. Friends, here's a reality check. Your biggest retirement expense likely isn't groceries or health care. It's taxes. Add inflation eating away at your dollar, and it's easy to see why so many run out of money. Lassiter Capital helps solve that problem by giving you access to real estate investments designed to generate income, protect against inflation, and provide huge tax advantages. Founder Ty Lassiter calls it the 4 keys to investment success. Visit LassiterCapital.com/Starnes or call 817-912-1569 to schedule your free consultation. Hi, this is Todd Starnes, and there's no better time to get in shape than right now. That's why I'm really excited that Calitrin is part of my weight loss campaign. Here's my friend Elizabeth from Calitrin.
I get it, Todd. You know, I've lost 40 pounds with Calitrin, too. When you start waking up feeling better than you have in a while, you're losing the inches, the pounds, you're seeing that scale move. That's what Calitrin does. It helps you get you back. You know, we get testimonials all the time. Had one just yesterday come in from Kathy W. She said, I've been taking Calitrin almost a month. I'm down 3 pounds already, sleeping so much better. Saw a comment on Facebook this morning, too. Robert said he's used Calitrin for years on and off whenever he needs to lose the weight. Calitrin is tried. It's true. It's trusted. And it's good for you. So get ready to lose the weight this year. Get the New Year's resolution goals going right now with our big Christmas sale. Go to toploss.com. You'll see that there. That's toploss.com.
Thanks, Elizabeth. And be sure to use that promo code TODD. Mike Lindell and MyPillow employees want to thank my listeners for all your continued support. You know, Mike has a passion to help everybody get the best sleep of their life. And he didn't stop by creating the best pillow. He also created the best bed sheets ever. Mike is offering the best deal on his Percale bed sheets. You can get a set for as low as $24.98. The MyPillow Percale bed sheets are breathable and have a cool, crisp feel. They have deep pockets to fit over any mattress. They look great, they feel great, and that means an even better night's sleep for me, which is crucial for my busy schedule. Also, for a limited time, when you order over $100 worth of merch, you're going to get $100 in free digital gifts. Go to MyPillow.com and use promo code STARNS to receive the MyPillow Percale sheets for as low as $24.98. Order now or call 800-839-8506 and use promo code STARNS. That's 800-839-8506. Use promo code STARNS.
Get hurt in the game? We tough it out. Feel exhausted? We push on. Feeling down? We pull ourselves up by the bootstraps. But there are times when bootstraps aren't enough. When stress gets to us and we need to talk to someone about what we're really going through. So we're going to reach out because sometimes mental health is not a one-person job. Visit loveyourmindtoday.org. That's loveyourmindtoday.org. Brought to you by the Huntsman Mental Health Institute and the Ad Council.
My mom has decided to learn to paint, and she's good.
My dad's now into creative cuisine, and I've already put on 6 pounds.
Learning new things comes with age.
My mom, she started forgetting my name and what we're talking about.
Forgetting well-known things doesn't. Memory loss may be a sign of Alzheimer's disease. Early detection gives you and your loved one time to plan for the future. Learn the warning signs of Alzheimer's at 10signs.org. Brought to you by the Alzheimer's Association and the Ad Council.
Well, they finally found that guy in New Hampshire. What is it, in a storage unit? Welcome back to the Todd Starnes Radio Show. This is the craziest story. So it turns out that a homeless guy had been the one who actually broke this story. He's the guy. The homeless guy kept trying to alert authorities that he knew who the shooter was at Brown University, but nobody paid him any attention. So for whatever reason, they finally started looking into the what the guy was saying, and sure enough, it turns out the homeless guy was a better cop than the DEI hires over at the Providence Police Department. I don't know if you caught the press conference late last night when all of the city leaders came out, the mayor, and said, "We got him, boys. We got him." No, actually, you did not. As a matter of fact, the guy had already killed himself before Providence Police figured out who he was. So the Providence Police Department did absolutely nothing. However, the Providence Police Department's incompetence may have very well led to the murder of this MIT professor, because they are telling us now those two incidents are somehow connected. They're not giving us any intel at all. There were dueling press conferences, and I don't know if you had a chance to switch over and watch the press conference out of Boston. So much more information coming out. You could tell they actually knew what they were talking about compared to what was happening over in Providence, Rhode Island. That was just absolutely bonkers insane. They were trying to ask all these questions, and the reporters were actually getting frustrated, and I appreciate their frustration. And you know why? Because that's what the press is there for. The press is there to ask all of the tough questions. And they clearly weren't having it. Oh, social media. So they're telling us they don't think the shooter had any social media presence at all. At all. And when somebody tried to ask a follow-up question of that, the mayor cut him off. Said, nope, you can't talk. You cannot talk about that. So they clearly still know a lot more about this guy, about why he did what he did. Apparently, the professor and the shooter went to school together back in Portugal. So there is a connection there. But otherwise, we really don't have any other information. 901-260-5926, our telephone number. That's 901-260-5926. hopefully we'll get some more intel later today. We shall see. Let's go to Rick in Iowa. Wants to weigh in on AmFest. Hi, Rick. What's on your mind?
Hi, Todd. I listen to you on KXL at night when I get off work, but I also listen to you on the app, and that's what I'm listening to you on right now.
Well, thank you.
But you're welcome. The thing about Tucker Carlson and Ben Shapiro, excuse me for a second, I got a cough.
Oh, my. Yeah.
It's just, I get dry when I talk.
Take a recall.
But anyway.
Yeah.
Thanks. No, but when I was in the military, when I went over to Saudi Arabia and to Bahrain and stuff like that, we were told we could carry our Bibles, but it had to be at the bottom of our, what they call a sea bag. It's our bag that you put all your clothing in and stuff you need for essentials for the time you spent in those countries. So they did not want the Christians to be there. And just a little added thing, the holidays like Christmas and stuff like that, they did not want us to celebrate. But when it came to October the 31st, Halloween, they would say, you do whatever you want. They were worshiping devils and stuff like that. So, they don't know what they're talking about. Us military members do, and they do not want us around. And I'm not defriending anybody because I have a friend that I work with who is a Muslim, and I cherish this friendship a lot. And being a Christian, you just want to be a friend and let there's two ways of witnessing, by verbalizing or by how you act. And I try to do it the way I act, and I cherish my Muslim friend a lot. He's a nice guy,
So, Rick, do you find yourself leaning more towards Ben Shapiro or Tucker Carlson?
I don't know. I don't listen to both. I just listen to both of them and say, why are you saying things like that? You're trying to destroy the party and trying to get Trump's agenda through, and that really bothers me. I mean, we voted him in to do some things, and granted, he's trying to do things, but it seems like there's roadblocks, and we don't need Ben Shapiro or Tucker Carlson to put on those roadblocks. Maybe they don't understand us military members who have been to those countries and see that, hey, they really don't want us Christians. Their whole thing there is to make us into Muslims, because they say that we're not a Muslim, we're going to go to hell. And their Quran says we need to be killed because we're an infidel. I just, I've read it in their Quran, and I just, God loves them too, because they came from Abraham and Ishmael, or Hagar, excuse me, and then Ishmael was born, and that's how the.
Well, I don't want to go down the biblical rabbit hole just right now on this, because we don't have a lot of time, Rick. But let me just say this: they want to kill us, and I don't believe there's anywhere in the Constitution that says we have to import a religion that wants to kill all the Christians and all the Jews. The problem is, what do we do now that we have? And we're watching all these terrorist attacks happen. Can we do something like Congressman Randy Fine says? We've got to deport all of them, because the real radical Muslims are the ones who don't want to kill us, and those are a very small minority. Or do we just deal with it, and we just have to hope and pray that our Christmas celebrations don't get blown to smithereens?
No, I agree with the congressman. I think that if they're not going to assimilate into the United States like they did back in the 1920s and stuff, I think they should be gone. See ya. Don't let the door hit you on the backside.
Yeah, Rick, I appreciate the call, and thank you for listening. And we love all of our great listeners here in Iowa. Let me just say, when it comes to that, at the very least, all immigration from Muslim countries must come to an immediate halt. And if you are a Muslim who is already here and you've been marching against our country, you've been fomenting hate against America, you got to go. You're gone. Any imams, any mosques that are preaching Sharia law, that are teaching and advocating for Sharia law, those mosques have to be shut down. and they've got to, if they're naturalized, send them back to where they came from. We're going to have to play hardball here. Otherwise, we are going to be in a world of hurt. Elisa writing in on our YouTube live stream, I really do not like what Tucker is saying. And my question is Tucker truly being authentic, or is he being paid for this opinion? Because he is very influential, and he really does. He's got a lot of followers. So what happened? Why the change? And again, I keep going back, and everybody forgets this. They're like, well, if we're not careful, we're going to have a full-blown jihad. We're going to have a holy war in America. We already got one, and it started well before September 11th, 2001. But September 11th, 2001 should have been the wake-up call, not just for the nation, but really the world. And nobody wanted to go down that path. Nobody wanted to talk about it. All right, we've got to take a break here. During the break, head over to our YouTube Live over at Todd Starnes FNC, and you can access it at our website, toddstarnes.com. I'll be chatting back and forth, so if you don't want to call in and you'd rather chat with us online, we're going to be doing that during the break over on our YouTube channel. You can access that at toddstarnes.com. All right, hang tight, everybody. We're going to take you live to AmFest. Also, Joe Messina dropping by for the big stories of the day. We'll also get into what's happening in Minnesota. $8 billion in corruption, ladies and gentlemen. Unbelievable. We'll be right back, everybody.
$5,000. That's the average amount of money people in the U.S. are now spending on gas in a year. $5,000. That's crazy. If you drive, you have to download Upside, the free app that gives you cash back every time you get gas. That's right. You can earn real cash back with Upside just by buying the gas you're already buying. You can literally start earning cash back today.
I use Upside every time I fill up, and I've already made around $300.
You're putting gas in your car anyway. Why not get real cash back? If you like free money, download Upside.
I'm saving the cash I earn from using Upside to help pay for a vacation later this year.
Download the free Upside app now to earn cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code WEALTH25 to get an extra 25 cents per gallon on your first tank. You can cash out anytime right to your bank, PayPal, or a gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code WEALTH25 for a 25 cents per gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code WEALTH25 for a 25 cents per gallon bonus.
You can't escape a traffic jam. Know what else you can't escape? Seasonal allergies. And you might think you can avoid that coffee stain until... Oh, really? You can't escape a lot of things in life, but you can escape prediabetes. Prediabetes captures 1 in 3 adults. There are usually no signs of prediabetes. In fact, most people don't even know they have it. But with early diagnosis, you can change the outcome and prevent or delay type 2 diabetes. Take action by taking the 1-minute risk test at doihaveprediabetes.org. You might not be able to escape having this song stuck in your head, but you can escape prediabetes. Go to doihaveprediabetes.org today. Brought to you by the Ad Council and the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention.
Hello, Americans. I'm Todd Starnes. Stand by for news and commentary next.
From Affirm Films and director Sean McNamara comes Soul on Fire, based on a true story. When John O'Leary suffers burns over 100% of his body, it's a battle for survival. But through the care and support of community heroes, John's resilience leads him to discover what it means to truly live.
The most powerful weapon on earth is the human soul on fire.
Soul on Fire. Rated PG, parental guidance suggested. Now playing. More information is available at soulonfiremovie.com.
Soul on Fire. For more than 25 years, the parishioners of St. Patrick's Catholic Church have sold Christmas trees. Now, a good many folks around the village of the Branch in New York have purchased those trees, the money used to fund the church's various ministries. But this year, village leaders issued a cease and desist notice. They said the church failed to obtain a special use permit, something they never had to do in the past. So the church complied with the law, submitted an application, but then village leaders told the congregation there was another rule they'd violated. Seems the zoning ordinance bans any fundraising events from being held on church property within 90 days of each other, and they held a fall festival. Well, First Liberty Institute says village leaders are being cruel and accused them of targeting the church over religious issues. You know, the only thing worse than a Grinch is a godless Grinch. You can read more about this story at toddstarnes.com.
The Todd Starnes Show begins in 4 minutes. The Todd Starnes Show begins in 2 minutes. The Todd Starnes Show begins in 1 minute.
from the Liberty University studio in Memphis, Tennessee, it's America's favorite gun-toting, Bible-clinging, deplorable American.
That's us. That's right. I love this American ride.
Todd Starnes.
Todd, good morning to you. I was just listening to you, and I think the issue is this whole thing about people wanting you to take sides and not respecting that you carry your own side. So you keep going, Mr. Starnes. You keep going on your own side, and you give us that perspective so we can compare it with other perspectives.
You're darn tootin' right there, Ed from Texas. Thank you for that, by the way. This is the Todd Starnes Radio Show. Great to have you with us. Of course, Ed is using our app. He's listening to us on the app and sent us a shout-out, which you're able to do if you download our free app, and you can do that at ToddStarnes.com. Great to have you with us, everybody. I want to say hello to all of our listeners. You know, one of the things we had been doing for a long time is broadcasting the show on Facebook and X. But you know what? We decided to sort of to narrow it down to Rumble and YouTube, and we are launching today on YouTube. And we'd love for you to go and check out at Todd Starnes, and you'll see our live stream there. And we have a live chat going. As a matter of fact, Joe Messina, who's going to be with us in just a few moments, is already in the live chat. So, Joe, good to see you. And we would love for you to be a part of our growing YouTube community. By the way, our telephone number, 901-260-5926. That's 901-260-5926. Well, I want to go right away to our Patriot Mobile Newsmaker line, and we're honored to talk with Jackson Heberlin, who has been a regular on our Newsmax show. And Jackson is from Clemson University. Jackson, we never hold that against you. I just want you to know right out of the gate. We
It's good to hear. Thank you.
So Jackson, we know you're at AmFest. Is this your first time there? And what's the mood like? Set the scene for us.
I mean, it is my first time here at AmFest, and the energy is totally electric. I mean, I've never seen so many young conservatives so motivated to be out here and meet people who are like-minded. I think with this time of clear deprivation of humanity from the left, people are really anxious to meet fellow conservatives because it's pretty obvious what we have in common now. Even people I know who have been to previous AmFest are saying that this one is one like no other.
Yeah, I mean, they're saying upwards of 30,000 people there. Is it pretty much wall-to-wall people?
Most definitely. I had times in the media row, and most definitely in the event hall, it is absolutely packed. I know the event hall was full at capacity, and many people were barred from entry even.
Wow, I'm surprised to hear that. But again, they were expecting a big crowd. This is the first time since they've had a gathering like this since Charlie was assassinated. Jackson, I'm curious, what is the mood there among college students? Are they enthusiastic? Are they fired up?
I mean, college students are really enthusiastic. They're very fired up. I think for a lot of people, it's a bit of a homecoming because you spend so much of this time in this, messed up modern climate where, people either want you to die or want you to suffer. And then you go to AmFest and you realize that, you are a normal individual and that like-minded people are here. So I think for many people, it's very nice to actually be in a friendly conservative environment where being conservative is not just tolerated, but it's celebrated.
Now, I know you've had a chance to watch the big speeches, and it seems like the big controversy from last night was Tucker versus Ben Shapiro. What was your take? And I'm curious just to kind of hear the mood. What are people, are they taking sides? What's the mood there at AmFest?
I mean, obviously, I don't have all of the inside information, but from most of the people in my age group and the people that I've talked to, the consensus is generally that Shapiro's criticisms are not necessarily being received very well. I know a lot of people that I talk to find it strange that Shapiro was, fully silent or at least not exceeding the criticism or criticizing of Tucker whenever he interviewed people like Vladimir Putin. But then over recent, there's no shortage of criticism. So I think for many people it feels motivated by things other than ideological truth-seeking.
Well, I think this is a battle. And do you sense that this is like people trying to jockey for position to be, not necessarily taking over TPUSA, but really taking over the platform that Charlie had.
It's no secret that, after the assassination, there's a bit of an opportunity for a changing of guards, and people are rightfully threatened by that and rightfully trying to stake out their position. I think with Daily Wire being such a stronghold on the right and with the culture in some ways moving away, but the platform still remaining a really strong platform, I think there is a level of, really unshaky ground and trying to find your balance. I think that's pretty apt to take on it, yeah.
Here's my concern, Jackson, and you can tell me if I'm off the mark here. You're not going to get in trouble. We actually enjoy free speech here we don't deplatform anybody on this program.
Great to hear.
But again, my concern is that this could fracture the movement, and we need unity here. I don't know what's going on with Tucker. I disagree with a lot of the stuff and a lot of the positions he's been taking, but I will defend his right to say what he wants to say, and it is not my place to deplatform him from TPUSA. That job is whoever's running TPUSA. That's on them, and I don't think Ben Shapiro needs to be, becoming the arbiter of what is the right position for a conservative to have. I think that's that just flies in the face of what it means to be a conservative.
I undoubtedly agree, and I think in some ways with some of the sentiment that we're seeing against Ben Shapiro, it's like the chickens that come home to roost. If you are willing to, if people already believe that you are ideologically motivated and are trying to basically ramrod your position into the base, because that's a lot of the criticism of Ben Shapiro's positions, then why is your response to try and censor those who are expressing that criticism? It's so antithetical to appearing like a likable and free speech having individual. I fully can understand the criticisms, but I do fully agree with you that attempting to censor the speech itself is really strange, and it draws a dividing line to this issue as for others, because I feel like in the past, Ben has been someone who was willing to stand up for that free speech.
So here's the thing. You were probably a cool kid in high school, but this is what it all reminds me of, this battle of the conservative influencers. It's like junior high school all over again. And like me, I'm at the nerd table, okay? And you've got all the cool kids in the Cafe Gymnatorium, and it's a free for all, and that's what it feels like right now in the conservative movement.
I couldn't agree more. It definitely feels in some ways childish, and it's just I don't see how in any way whenever Charlie Kirk dies, and Charlie Kirk was almost equidistant from all of these fronts, that he dies, the guy who's holding everyone together, and people don't take that as an opportunity to say, hey, we need to fill in for what he did and sort of, like kumbaya, like get together on this. I find it strange that anyone would take this as an opportunity to fracture, because my immediate result was, while I obviously have a stake in, the different factions of the conservative movement like anyone else, I know for a fact what I'm not, and it's the people who are, screaming and cheering for the guy who just got murdered. So it's like, where is the sense of commonality that we had in October? In September, sorry.
Yeah, no, look, it's a great point you bring up. And again, where are those conversations being had at, from the stage at AmFest? And I think we do need to remind people who the bad guys really are, and it's not your fellow conservatives.
I fully agree. I think I like the fact that, and many of my peers were mentioning this even before, how a student in my chapter said it felt like Ben Shapiro's was a speech on Tucker and Tucker's was a speech on America. It's, we need to be focused on the issues right now because, we're approaching midterms. We are really, starting to pick back up on some of the lost momentum, and that needs to be we need to take that in a unified push. I can't feel stronger about that.
I know you're really involved in the Republican Party there in South Carolina. You guys are going to be having a lot of big races, gubernatorial race. What are some of the big issues facing college-age voters going into the midterms?
I mean, there's a lot. I mean, when it comes to the gubernatorial race, a lot of people are split between what they see as, riskier, more ideological options or more stable, like very proven but maybe less ideologically charged options. So I find that's a lot of what's on the mind of my youth voters. And I find that for the Senate race, it's really just a debate over, can people will this sort of climate against, I guess what's the term I'd prefer to use? Maybe the legacy GOP candidates like Lindsey Graham. It's sort of, is that going to move away towards a more modern and, I guess, younger focused right on the Senate campaign? a lot of people want to unseat him. A lot of people don't because they think he's had a good tenured career. So it's a really big debate on both those fronts.
All right. Jackson, so you guys are there. Do you just go to meetings all day? Or are you guys hitting the party scene? What are you guys up to out there?
Unfortunately, I'm quite a nerd. I'm not doing too many partyings. I've just been meeting with some people who I've known online. But I know for me, at least, most of the day is spent at the convention center, checking out the booths, doing some interviews, and just talking around to see what people are thinking and meet some conservatives who I've known online for a long time.
All right. Well, Jackson, we're gonna see you again tonight on the Newsmax show, and I believe we've got a Turning Point USA vice president who's going to join you for the panel, so that'll be a lot of fun, and we appreciate you spending some time with us on the radio show today.
Absolutely, Todd. Thank you so much for having me. I'll see you then.
All right, Jackson Heberlin, everybody, strong conservative over at Clemson. Man, he was the subject of a lot of these attacks early on in the aftermath of Charlie's assassination. So we're going to be talking to him. Also, a young lady who has been really instrumental in launching a high school TPUSA chapter. They call those Club America, and she is from the Memphis area. She's out there in Arizona as well. So we'll have live reports from all of those folks. All right, we're going to take a quick break here. 901-260-5926. That's 901-260-5926. Coming up tonight, again, 5 o'clock Eastern, we're going to have live reports from AmFest, also the very latest on the Brown University shootings. Got to tell you, President Trump is right. Millions of people are now watching Newsmax on cable, our streaming channel, Newsmax 2, and they're downloading our free Newsmax app on their smartphones and TVs. Reuters says we're one of the top news brands in the nation. And I want you to watch us. Find out why Newsmax is the fastest growing news channel in the country. Make the switch today and join our news revolution. Get Newsmax on cable, on streaming, and download the free app today. Takes just seconds to start. And let President Trump know that you stand with Newsmax. Real news for real people.
He's a man of his word. Todd Starnes.
Hi, this is Todd Starnes, and there's no better time to get in shape than right now. That's why I'm really excited that Calitrin is part of my weight loss campaign. Here's my friend Elizabeth from Calitrin.
I get it, Todd. You know, I've lost 40 pounds with Calitrin, too. When you start waking up feeling better than you have in a while, you're losing the inches, the pounds, you're seeing that scale move. That's what Calitrin does. It helps you get you back. You know, we get testimonials all the time. Had one just yesterday come in from Kathy W. She said, I've been taking Calitrin almost a month. I'm down 3 pounds already, sleeping so much better. Saw a comment on Facebook this morning, too. Robert said he's used Calitrin for years on and off whenever he needs to lose the weight. Calitrin is tried. It's true. It's trusted. And it's good for you. So get ready to lose the weight this year. Get the New Year's resolution goals going right now with our big Christmas sale. If you go to toploss.com, you'll see that there. That's toploss.com.
Thanks, Elizabeth, and be sure to use that promo code TODD. Mike Lindell and MyPillow employees want to thank my listeners for all your continued support. You know, Mike has a passion to help everybody get the best sleep of their life, and he didn't stop by creating the best pillow. He also created the best bed sheets ever. Mike is offering the best deal on his Percale bed sheets. You can get a set for as low as $24.98. The MyPillow Percale bed sheets are breathable and have a cool, crisp feel. They have deep pockets to fit over any mattress. They look great, they feel great, and that means an even better night's sleep for me, which is crucial for my busy schedule. Also, for a limited time, when you order over $100 worth of merch, you're going to get $100 in free digital gifts. Go to MyPillow.com and use promo code STARNS to receive the MyPillow Percale sheets for as low as $24.98. Order now or call 800-839-8506 and use promo code STARNS. That's 800-839-8506. Use promo code STARNS. We are living in dangerous and unstable times. Hello, everybody. I'm Todd Starnes. Pandemics, international insecurity, shortages, supply chain disruptions. and an economy on the brink. We know we can't simply trust the government to protect us. Now more than ever, everyone needs to be prepared. And being prepared is more than just stockpiling ammo, food, and supplies. Being prepared should also include stockpiling critical prescription medications. And that's where my friends at the Wellness Company come in. Their medical emergency kit contains the prescriptions, antibiotics, antivirals, and antiparasitics that you need to keep you and your family safe, from anthrax to tick bites to COVID and even to a bioweapon like the plague. The Wellness Company's medical emergency kit is exactly what you need to have on hand to be prepared. Go to twc.health/Starnes today and order. That's twc.health/Starnes. Use the promo code STARNES, and you're going to save an extra 10%.
All right, son. Time to put out this campfire.
Dad, we learned about this in school.
Oh, did you now? Okay. What's first?
Smokey Bear said to.
First drown it with a bucket of water, then stir it with a shovel.
Wow. You sound just like him.
Then he said,
If it's still warm, then do it again.
Where can I learn all this?
It's all on SmokeyBear.com with other wildfire prevention tips, because only you can prevent wildfires.
Brought to you by the USDA Forest Service, your state forester, and the Ad Council.
Now more than ever, it's important to support companies and organizations that share our values. Patriot Mobile not only shares our beliefs, but they actually do something about it. America's only conservative Christian wireless carrier. And they donate a portion of every dollar to organizations that fight for causes you care about. Switch to Patriot Mobile now and use the promo code TODD to get free activation and a free gift. Veterans and first responders save even more. Go to patriotmobile.com/Todd or call 972-PATRIOT. That's 972-PATRIOT.
Uh-oh, Brad's buzzed.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, he's starting with the woots. And now a speech.
I just want to say that friendship is about heart and brain. Who's with me?
Good thing is, he knows when he's buzzed.
And my brain is saying, when it's time to go home, somebody call me a ride.
Love that guy.
Me too.
Know your buzzed warning signs? Call for a ride when it's time to go home. Buzz driving is drunk driving. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Are you prepared for an emergency or disaster? Because it's not a matter of if, but when. Don't find yourself saying,
when the storm rolls in, my time to find a pet-friendly evacuation center will have run out.
The scorching heat wave will leave me powerless to cool my insulin.
I'll face a hurricane without meds. Now that's a tough pill to swallow.
Let's prepare so we all have a better story to tell. Get started at ready.gov/older adults. Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
All right, welcome back, everybody. This is the Todd Starnes Radio Show. I want to say hello to all of our friends over in our YouTube live chat. So we've been trying to figure out the whole digital thing we do, and we've been doing Facebook, and it was like all of our audience was sort of balkanized on digital from Facebook to X, and so we've settled on we have finally settled on YouTube, and we've had great conversations with our friends at YouTube, and they seem to be more lenient now and more accepting of all of us when it comes to the conservative world. So head over to, we're at Todd Starnes, and you'll be able to watch us live there. We have a link on ToddStarnes.com, but Joe Messina's hanging out with us in the live chat along with Greg. Greg says, hey, Todd, enjoying the show. Greg, good to see you in our live chat. Dee Dee says, I'm glad to see your live show here. I was, strangely enough, about 30 minutes ago while cleaning, I was just wondering if you were airing live anywhere besides the app. So, Dee Dee, great to see you, and take a break. Grab yourself a big old thing of iced tea and put your feet up. Enjoy the rest of the show. And even Pastor John out in Kentucky is hanging out with us over on the YouTube channel. So, great to see you. Great to see you there, Pastor John. And we'll be giving other folks a shout-out. And during the commercial breaks, I like to go on and we have a little bit of a conversation there. So anyway, all right, 901-260-5926. It is Open Line Friday, ladies and gentlemen, and that means we're going to have a lot of fun taking your calls. Whatever you want to talk about, we're going to talk about today. I want to play this audio. This is from California, a little third grader, a little girl. She's very upset because they're telling the little third grade girls at this California elementary school they have to share a bathroom with little boys. Cut number 16, please.
I'm a third grader at Herbert Hoover Elementary School, and I do not like that we have to share a bathroom with boys. At Hoover, a boy has punched me in the stomach and spit on me. I really do not feel comfortable in an all-gender restroom. When I come to the bathroom, I do not like that there is pee on the seats and toilet paper on the ground. It feels very uncomfortable. I was at Hoover in previous years, on the seats and no toilet paper on the ground. It was cleaner and more sanitary. My friends and I do not like that there are boys in the bathroom. Some of my friends and I try not to go to the bathroom when they have to. There should be girls, boys, and all gender restrooms.
But I can ask that staff will make sure that the bathrooms are cleaned in the new construction. And I'm sure staff will make sure that there are procedures in place to make sure the bathrooms are clean.
I think that's a fine comment to make, and I visited the school today and went over that with Principal Manu, who is absolutely on top of it.
All right, Dylan, I think the school board there, I think they missed the point here. It wasn't the bathrooms were dirty.
Yeah, they missed it by a smidge, yeah.
You had boys in the girls' room.
Oh, really?
But it is true, though, right? I mean, you know, you got, how many times did your mom tell you growing up, you know, be sure to lift the seat up and put it back down when you're done?
At least twice a day, yeah. I had a problem.
It's an issue. I don't want to talk about that on the radio, but yeah, no, it's an issue. Dirty. I felt bad for the girl. Yeah. You couldn't even see her. She was so tiny. There was like, they didn't have like a chair for her to stand on. Yeah. So you just heard this voice. I feel so bad for that little girl.
It's sad.
The worst part, though, for the girls, and we used to, you know, again, I've heard this, is when you forget to put the seat back down and they get a bidet.
Yeah.
It happens.
Everyone should have a bidet. I would want, hey, for Christmas, Todd?
First time I ever saw one. You know, I'm from the South. We don't do bidets down in Dixie. Yeah. And so I was a grown man. I was covering the Obama campaign, and on Christmas night, we were staying at Caesar's Palace. No, Halloween night. It was Halloween night. We were staying at Caesar's Palace on the Strip in Vegas. And I remember going up to my hotel suite. My compatriot over on the John McCain campaign, they were staying at a Hampton Inn. But I literally had 2 bathrooms in my suite.
Nice.
And one of them, I had never seen it. I'm like, I hit this button, and the next thing I know is like a stream, a jet of water just blast up into the air.
Yeah, it doesn't even ask for permission. It just goes.
I'm like, what the heck? I thought it was a water fountain. I'm like, what's going on here? I didn't know what that was.
I wouldn't trust a bidet. I would have to like check its work. Like I would have to like make sure, you know, it got everything.
By the way, everybody was dressed in costumes. And you had to walk through the casino to get to the hotel there at Caesar's Palace. And there were these 2 women in full body stockings.
Oh, wow.
And they were each dressed as one half of a breast, a woman's boob.
Wow.
And I stopped, and I couldn't help but chuckle. So I went back and I asked the ladies, I said, I'm sorry, but what is your costume? And they said, we're 2 women walking abreast. Side by side. 901-260-5926, our telephone number. That's 901-260-5926. Head over to YouTube. Join us in the chat. We'll be right back.
What I know about courage, I learned from my adoptive mom. She said sometimes you just gotta hold on and know we'll get through this. Mom, we are so high up. Hold my hand.
No, you hold my hand.
Here we go.
Learn about adopting a teen from foster care. You can't imagine the reward. Visit adoptuskids.org to find out more.
I learned patience from my adoptive dad. All he had to say was,
"Hey, you got this. Just breathe." Hey, we're pretty good.
Yeah.
Might have to start a band.
I got it.
Learn about adopting a teen from foster care. You can't imagine the reward. Visit adoptuskids.org to find out more. This message is brought to you by Adopt US Kids, the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, and the Ad Council.
I'm Smokey Bear, and I made an assistant to help you prevent wildfires.
Dude, I've got this. I've been camping since I was 5 years old.
But I am a camping influencer.
You know what? I'll bet you $5. Assistant Smokey, what is the best way to put out a campfire?
To put out a campfire, drown with water, stir, drown again. Then make sure the fire is out cold by feeling with the back of your hand.
Wait, really?
I'll take the $5.
Learn more at SmokeyBear.com.
Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service, your state forester, and the Ad Council.
And here's Heather with the weather.
Well, it's beautiful out there, sunny and 75, almost a little chilly in the shade. Now, let's get a read on the inside of your car. It is hot. You've only been parked a short time, and it's already 99 degrees in there. Let's not leave children in the back seat while running errands. It only takes a few minutes for their body temperatures to rise, and that could be fatal.
Cars get hot, fast, and can be deadly. Never leave a child in a car. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
We're live here outside the Perez family home, just waiting for the... And there they go, almost on time this morning. Mom is coming out the front door strong with a double-arm kid carry. Looks like Dad has the bags. Daughter is bringing up the rear. Oh, but the diaper bag wasn't closed. Diapers and toys are everywhere. Ooh, but Mom has just nailed the perfect car seat buckle for the toddler. And now the eldest daughter, who looks to be about 9 or 10, has secured herself in the booster seat. Dad zips the bag closed, and they're off. But looks like Mom doesn't realize her coffee cup is still on the roof of the car. And there it goes. Oh, that's a shame. That mug was a fam favorite.
Don't sweat the small stuff. Just nail the big stuff. Like making sure your kids are buckled correctly in the right seat for their age and size. Learn more at nhtsa.gov/the right seat.
Visit nhtsa.gov/the right seat.
Brought to you by NHTSA and the Ad Council.
It'd be great if life came with a remote control. You know, you could hit pause when you needed to, or hit rewind. Like that time you knocked down that wasp's nest. Uh-oh. Or that time you forgot to roll up your windows in the car wash.
Fantastic.
Yeah, a remote control would have come in handy then. Well, life doesn't always give you time to change the outcome, but prediabetes does. With early diagnosis and a few healthy changes like managing your weight, getting active, stopping smoking, and eating healthier, you can stop prediabetes before it leads to type 2 diabetes. It's easy to learn your risk. Take the 1-minute test today at doihaveprediabetes.org. Life doesn't come with a remote control.
Yikes!
So you're on your own with the wasps. You have the power to take control of prediabetes. Visit doihaveprediabetes.org today. That's doihaveprediabetes.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and its prediabetes awareness partners.
Not completing high school is more of a social thing than it was an academic thing. Even though all these years have passed, I still had that longing to have my diploma.
At age 30, Carissa finished her high school diploma.
If you're even considering getting your high school diploma, you can do it.
No one gets a diploma alone. If you're thinking of finishing your high school diploma, you have help. Find free adult education classes near you at finishyourdiploma.org. That's finishyourdiploma.org. Brought to you by the Dollar General Literacy Foundation and the Ad Council.
Retirement can be scary, but only if you're not prepared. That's why AARP created thisispretirement.org. Because unless you've already retired, you're in pretirement, and you still have time to plan. Learn about retirement savings options, potential tax breaks, and how you can build savings over time. Visit thisispretirement.org for free resources to help you customize your action plan and feel the retirement fear disappear. Brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
Have I said, Dylan, lately, have I said today that I love Christmas? It's my favorite holiday.
I think today's the first time you've said that.
I just love it. I really do. There's just something about, it's just people are in a good mood. They're out Christmas shopping. And I will say this in Memphis. I've got to play this before. You know what? Let's bring Joe Messina in because I want him to weigh in on this. Our good buddy, the nationally syndicated radio host, Joe Messina, all the way out in Santa Clarita, California. Joe, how's it going?
Oh, it's wonderful out here in North Venezuela. Very fun.
North Venezuela. I want to play some audio for you here. They just announced yesterday that the National Guard is going to be sticking around Memphis pretty much indefinitely, which is not a bad thing because they have completely changed the entire vibe of Memphis. And there were a couple of guys, and they were doing a podcast together, and they were just getting real. And I want you to take a listen. This is cut number 1, please.
Do you think Memphis needs the National Guard here, though?
Do I think Memphis needed
the National Guard and the Fed, all the people they got here now?
Man, what I'm finna say, I think I'm gonna get a little backlash for it, but I ain't never cared. They say they gonna say it. They might say it on the internet, but they ain't gonna say it around me. Memphis had got so bad that we needed something. It's one thing to hustle and to try to get some money, but it's another thing, man, to be out just robbing people. Taking people cars. Then if they come to the door about their car, you gonna kill them.
Yeah.
About their
looking out the window.
They can't even peep out the window, and you gonna shoot them in the face. What if somebody did that to your mama? Or your sister? How would they feel? And it's just So with that being said, it had got out of control, bro. And if we didn't need the National Guard, we needed something. And I be joking with people all the time. I know a lot of people, a lot of my supporters, and they hate Trump or whatever. But one thing you can't say, and one thing you can't knock, and then turn Memphis to South Haven in 2 weeks.
Man, I seen some white people jogging on South Parkway.
Man, come on, you gonna continue to see.
I was like, I just saw 2 white ladies jogging down South Parkway.
Before the National Guard got here, you wouldn't see white people jogging. They'd be running away from a crime scene.
Well, first I got to say, for us Yankees, you need to run like a closed caption line underneath so we can understand every word they're saying.
Let me defend Memphis and the rest, because the rest of the South is probably saying the same thing. We have our own language in Memphis. So, Dylan, help us out here because Maine is like a thing, right?
Yeah, Maine is man.
Come on, Maine?
Yeah.
It's man, really. That's
the main one.
I'm from Boston, so I shouldn't really talk, but, man, I'll tell you what.
But and South Haven is a Memphis suburb across the state line of Mississippi, which is basically a refugee camp, but instead of tents, everybody has mansions. So they're saying that Memphis is it's like been just changed. And it's so safe that even the white people can go out and jog.
God bless America. I tell you what, I hope I believe that the National Guard, God bless those guys too. I believe that they do make a major difference. And, we have them in L.A. They're being fought here as well. They're being fought in Chicago. It's really ridiculous. Interesting, if you really want to nail the Democrats, say, why is it that you enjoy crime so much? Every place the National Guard's been put in place, you've seen crime take a nosedive. And people are out there, as this man said, they're walking the streets. They're at restaurants in D.C. I'm sure you heard the clips that people were elated that they felt safe sitting on a sidewalk, restaurant kind of situation. So there's something in the air in some of these state houses that these legislators aren't getting.
Oh, yeah. Look, and here's the thing. What I just played for you, that will never appear on local media or national media. But I'm telling you, and we're a majority-minority city here. That's the majority opinion of the majority and the minority. We're all just breathing a sigh of relief. I've got to play this. This is a very short clip here. You're going to hear a National Guardsman telling his wife that he's been deployed, and I want you to hear. Just take a listen to cut 2.
That's why they send the National Guard down there. We send me for deployment, baby.
They're gonna send you to deployment. Where you going?
Yeah, I supposed to be doing 2 years in Memphis.
2 years? You act like you're going to Afghanistan or something.
It is Afghanistan, Mifghanistan. They sending us down there to Mifghanistan. Yeah, they seen a 9-year-old with a Draco. What he doing with a Draco down there?
Mifghanistan. It's a different world down here, but I'm telling you, the Memphis Safe Task Force, Trump sent all the alphabet agencies down here, and they've got the gangbangers running scared, my friend.
As well, they should be. I mean, my God, they should be afraid of the regular police. I don't know what's going on in Memphis when it comes to the police departments and how they're being handled. But as you know, in L.A., they've been told to stand down. They've been told not to support ICE in their endeavors. I've got friends in the police department, and they're totally disgusted, and they're actually thinking about leaving and going somewhere else, going to a different police department. So they are getting the order. Oh, and the illustrious mayor of Los Angeles, who have told these people to not to step down, stand down, she's running for re-election again.
Joe, I want to pivot over to your old neck of the woods, which is Massachusetts. There's been the crazy. I mean, what happened last night with the that press conference? They found the guy. He's dead in a storage shed in New Hampshire. It's just shocking the level of incompetence that we saw in Providence, Rhode Island.
Yeah, the funny thing about this is not a funny situation, but I think you heard that a homeless man did a better job than the police did down there, and he was able to identify the car and tell them what it looked like and all that other stuff. And as far as I watched the other press conference at the time where they had all the out of New Hampshire, where they had all the heads of, I don't know, the CHP or they don't have a CHP, but state police, local police, feds. They had everybody there doing their look at how great we are, and we're glad that we worked with so-and-so and such and such. I was like, come on, guys, just get down to the facts, will you? I understand that the Boston one, though, was very much to the point and explained what went down and how it went down. But I don't know if I hear it in your voice. I'm having a hard time believing that this guy took out the MIT guy and then went to a storage shed and shot himself.
Yeah, there's a lot that doesn't make sense here, and so it sounds to me, maybe was this guy a professional hit guy? Was this a hit on the nuclear scientist at MIT? What role why specifically the Republican leader at at Brown University? Just a lot of unknown questions, a lot right now.
Yeah, I heard you talking earlier, and I am 1,000% in agree with you that we're being let down by our people, and I'm having a problem with Speaker Johnson as well in what he's doing, and it's just making me nuts. We need to step up. You and I talked about this a while back, where even though we have a majority in the legislature, they don't do anything. They're not doing their job. They're not doing what they're supposed to be. I think Speaker Johnson should be following Trump around, and every time he signs an EO, bang, let's write up a bill right then and there. I don't care if it's a page or a page and a half. Let's get these things on the floor. Let's show the Democrats, or let's let the Democrats show truly who they are and what they stand for.
There is absolutely no excuse for them to be calling in an early week, calling it an early weekend and sending everybody back home today. They had to have there were votes scheduled today, and they did not take those votes. And the speaker is he's really upset. And I know his people reached out. But I stand by every word I said, and the way I framed it on X, which is what really pissed the speaker off, I said this do-nothing Congress started this session of Congress the same way they're ending it, by doing nothing.
Bingo. 100%. Again, did you really, honestly, in your heart of hearts, did you honestly believe that these guys were going to make major inroads this year and get some solid laws on the books?
Well, no, but I did expect, I expected them to at least try, right? I mean, try.
Well, you heard them. They are trying, so they say, and the Democrats are stopping them because they don't know how to, I think every Republican should serve in the Democrat Party for at least a year or two, so they learn how to get around the law, how do they get these bills in, how to sneak information in and get it pushed through.
Joe Messina joining us on our Patriot Mobile Newsmaker line, and you can also chat with Joe in our live chat over on YouTube, which is a lot of fun. I was going back to I want to go back to AmFest for just a second, and Erica Kirk announced yesterday, and I was really surprised by this. They're all in with J.D. Vance. Turning Point USA has just thrown their support, and she endorsed J.D. Vance as Donald Trump's replacement in the White House. Your take on that?
I think, listen, I like J.D. Vance. I was not a big fan of his at first, but to see how strong he's been, how strong he's come out, and the things. Now, I want to see him do what he's talking about. I want to see him find a way to actually, I know the VP doesn't have a lot of power, but he has a lot of influence. So let's see what he really does. Let's see what he goes out and how he whips our team together, gets behind true Republican conservatives that will go ahead and make differences in the laws and bring the bills forward and pound the bills home. I think he needs to take more of an active role in that. Because right now, you've got a lot of Republicans that are backing away from Trump or acting like they're lukewarm on Trump.
Well, Susie Wiles, in the Vanity Fair piece, which was weird, but, she called out J.D. Vance and said that he really wasn't authentic. His decision to become, America First was really all about politics.
Yeah, I'm having a hard time with that article. I'm having a hard time because you know as well as I do, sometimes that stuff is tweaked, spun, pieces left out. I'm not a big fan of hers. Wasn't when he, mentioned her as being his chief. So, again, I don't know. J.D. Vance has worked hard. He's come from a place that a lot of Americans have respect for, being poor and working his way through. So he does kind of show the American dream. Who else do we have? Our teams are getting thinner and thinner and thinner.
Here's my concern about J.D. Vance, and I'm just going to use his own words. In 2016, let me ask you this. Let's think back to 2016, Joe Messina. Are your viewpoints, your belief system, is it still the same today as it was in 2016? I mean, just the base, not just like, tangential stuff, but the base of your core beliefs.
Yeah, God, family, country. Those are all the same. Those are all solid.
So it never changed in less than 10 years. It never changed.
Correct. It's
not a trick question.
My viewpoint on some people changed a little bit in watching their actions as opposed to just listening to them.
So J.D. Vance in 2016 with Charlie Rose, all right, so this is a very thoughtful, thought-provoking conversation, called himself a never Trump guy, said he never liked Donald Trump, told NPR in 2016 that I can't stomach Trump, and then wrote an op-ed for the New York Times titled Mr. Trump is unfit for our nation's highest office. And then Vance said he did not vote for Trump in 2016, and his former roommate shared an image of a text message Vance sent him that year in which he called Trump cynical and said he could be America's Hitler. Now, I'm going to dismiss that because that is technically hearsay. But all the rest of it is on the record. And I'm just kind of curious, how does somebody go from, likening someone to Hitler to now, being the standard bearer of the Trump movement?
My short
in less than
answer
10 years.
My short answer is he got offered the job of VP. That changed everything. But my long answer is I have to believe to a point that, we've had millions and millions of people change their mindset on Trump. Millions of people seeing him in action, watching what's going down, and they've changed their minds. Now, maybe he hasn't come all the way back from those thoughts. I'm not so sure he believes that Trump is the worst thing that ever happened. But again, I say to you, where's our team? Look who's coming up.
But, Joe, can I tell you, my issue with Vance is not what he said at all. It's not, because I think a lot of people have felt that or thought that about Trump.
Yeah.
My issue is who he said it to. And if you're a conservative, what the hell are you doing on Charlie Rose, writing in the New York Times, or going on National Public Welfare Radio? Yeah. That's my issue.
No, you've got a valid point there. I would watch my words. I'm not as advanced as he is, but I would watch my words, too, if I was on any of those shows. I was a regular on CNN, and I just kept feeding it to them. I kept, just hitting them with their own words. And that's what I would have done with him. But you're right. That was not the place to spew that.
All right. Well, we got to leave it there, my friend. Have you done your Christmas shopping? Got Mrs. Joe something nice?
I got a whole weekend. Not a problem.
A problem?
I got a whole weekend to go shopping to hit those sales. I wait till we get to like 50, 60% off. Todd, I'm cheap.
Dylan is laughing.
I think the deals don't go into like after Christmas though. It's like Halloween.
Oh, no. You got those guys at the little kiosks in the mall, and you go, do you really want to take all that stuff home with you? Come on, give me 5 of those. I'll give you, give me 5 for the price of 3. Come on, dude. I'll give you cash.
All right, Messina, you cheapskate. All right. The guy drives a Jaguar, for crying out loud, Dylan. A Jag.
Well, that's why I'm cheap.
Oh, well, fair enough. All right, Messina, good hearing from you. Merry Christmas, my friend.
Yeah, guys, God bless. Merry Christmas to all you too.
All right. Good guy right there. Got to take a quick break. We'll be right back.
Making radio great again. The Todd Starnes Radio Show.
Grandma's Kitchen, where laughter and warm meals mingle. Each bite is a journey through generations. As you gather around the table, complement the meal with Balance of Nature fruits and veggie supplements. Our veggie supplement, made from 15 ingredients like garlic, onion, and cayenne pepper, can easily be opened and added to your favorite dishes, like homemade soups or dips. Not to mention our fruit supplement, which is made from 16 ingredients like banana, strawberries, and mango, making it a great addition to your homemade smoothies. So the next time you gather with family, enjoy Balance of Nature supplements as an addition to your favorite dishes. Start your journey with Balance of Nature. Call 1-800-246-8751 or go to balanceofnature.com to get 35% off your preferred set as a new preferred customer with free shipping and our money-back guarantee. That's 1-800-246-8751. Go to balanceofnature.com or call 1-800-246-8751 and get this special offer by using discount code Todd.
Hi, this is Todd Starnes. I realize there are many choices when it comes to who you choose for your cell phone service, and there are new ones popping up all the time. But here's the truth. There's only one that boldly stands in the gap for every American that believes that freedom is worth fighting for, and that's Patriot Mobile. For more than 12 years, Patriot Mobile's been on the front lines fighting for our God-given rights and freedoms while providing exceptional nationwide cell phone service with access to all 3 of the main networks. Don't just take my word for it. Ask the hundreds of thousands of Americans who've made the switch and are now supporting causes they believe in simply by joining Patriot Mobile. Switching is easier than ever. Activate in minutes from the comfort of your own home. Keep your number, keep your phone, or upgrade. Patriot Mobile's all U.S.-based support team is standing by to take care of you. Call 972-PATRIOT today or go to patriotmobile.com/Todd. Use promo code Todd for a free month of service. That's patriotmobile.com/Todd or call 972-PATRIOT and make the switch today. Many college grads are anti-capitalist activists, so if you're a business owner, how do you find new employees who won't destroy your business? Hi, this is Todd Starnes, and that's where Red Balloon comes in. They're America's #1 pro-freedom job board, and they're shaking up the hiring world by focusing on values and mission-aligned talent. Now, there are 2 ways Red Balloon can help. You can post your job on their national job board. Over 20,000 people visit every week. Or you can hire Red Balloon Recruiter for a more customized talent search. Now, the Recruiter team is really fantastic. They start by learning your workplace culture and writing a custom job posting, and then they source and screen candidates from their national database. Their team conducts first interviews, and you get alerts when they find highly qualified candidates. And Red Balloon delivers these high-quality results at a fraction of traditional corporate recruiter prices. People are saying Red Balloon is a game changer. So check them out today, redballoon.work. Use the promo code STARNS and save $100 on Recruiter.
As veterans, we're no strangers to helping others.
That's what we were taught, service before self.
But we do have one question for the veterans listening.
When was the last time you reached out for help?
If you or someone you know needs resources, whether it's for stress, finances, employment, or mental health, don't wait. Reach out.
Find more information at va.gov/reach. That's va.gov/reach.
Brought to you by the United States Department of Veterans Affairs and the Ad Council.
Smokey the Bear.
Then you know why Smokey tells you when he sees you passing through. Remember, please be careful, it's the least that you can do.
Don't play with matches, don't play with fire.
After 80 years of learning his wildfire prevention tips, Smokey Bear lives within us all. Learn more at smokeybear.com. And remember,
only you can prevent wildfires.
Brought to you by the USDA Forest Service, your state forester, and the Ad Council.
Let's go to the phone line. San Francisco, one of the prettiest towns in America, so the Democrats got a hold of it. Let's go to David. David, what's going on?
Oh, thanks, Todd. And I'm going to get all radical and wish everybody happy holidays. I think shortest night of the year is it tonight or tomorrow night?
What day are we in? Are you a Hanukkah guy or a Christmas guy?
Well, Yawa, I pay attention to all of them.
Okay.
And as a matter of fact, I think I remember some biblical scholars have looked at the history of that tax-raising season when Joseph and Mary went to Bethlehem, and that would have been in March, and or what we think of as March. And so basically what we think of as Christmas is really the famous, you remember the constellation, the Southern Cross? It lowers and lowers as the days get shorter, and then it hangs in the sky for 3 days, and then it rises again. So the traditional idea of a savior being born in a manger or born in poor circumstances, and then the idea of dying and rising again, that legend is same for Brahma, for Buddha, for Jesus, for I think there are 19 different deities throughout history that have that same legend.
Well, let me stop you. Let me stop you there, David, because I can barely afford Christmas, much less all the other holidays. I just want to know if I should have said Happy Hanukkah or Merry Christmas. That's all, Dave. That's all I wanted to know. That's all. And unfortunately, we got to leave it there. David, give us a holler back. This is the Todd Starnes Show. I really need a drink. Hi, this is Todd Starnes, and there's no better time to get in shape than right now. That's why I'm really excited that Calitrin is part of my weight loss campaign. Here's my friend Elizabeth from Calitrin.
That's right, Todd. I know you've been seeing results with it. I've lost weight with it. It's proven. It's got a huge 86% success rate with 90 days. You're going to look better. You're going to feel better. That is proven for almost 30 years. It's not going to be overnight results with Calitrin. This is not a drug. It's not a stimulant. You're not going to lose 10 pounds in 10 days, but you are going to do it the right way, giving your body back what it needs, turning it back into that fat-burning machine that it used to be. So if you're ready to jump on those New Year's resolutions, stock up and save big with Calitrin today. We've got the Christmas sale on the website, toploss.com, and free gifts with every purchase. Toploss.com or call 833-TOP-LOSS.
Thanks, Elizabeth, and be sure to use that promo code TODD.
As veterans, we're no strangers to helping others.
It's what we were taught, trained, and told to do.
It could be for anything. Helping a friend move.
Listening to a fellow veteran for hours, at any hour of the day.
Or just simply making time for people. A neighbor, a loved one, or even a stranger.
We're often the first to help others. There's no question about it.
But we do have one question for the veterans listening.
When was the last time you reached out for help?
Perhaps it's time to do for yourself what you would do for others.
If you or someone you know needs resources, whether it's for stress, finances, employment, or mental health, don't wait. Reach out.
Find more information at va.gov/reach. That's va.gov/reach.
Brought to you by the United States Department of Veterans Affairs and the Ad Council.
Hello, Americans. I'm Todd Starnes. Stand by for news and commentary next.
From Affirm Films and director Sean McNamara comes Soul on Fire, based on a true story. When John O'Leary suffers burns over 100% of his body, it's a battle for survival. But through the care and support of community heroes, John's resilience leads him to discover what it means to truly live.
The most powerful weapon on earth is the human soul on fire.
Soul on Fire. Rated PG, parental guidance suggested. Now playing. More information is available at soulonfiremovie.com.
Soul on fire.
For more than 25 years, the parishioners of St. Patrick's Catholic Church have sold Christmas trees. Now, a good many folks around the village of the branch in New York have purchased those trees. The money used to fund the church's various ministries. But this year, village leaders issued a cease and desist notice. They said the church failed to obtain a special use permit, something they never had to do in the past. So the church complied with the law, submitted an application, but then village leaders told the congregation there was another rule they'd violated. Seems the zoning ordinance bans any fundraising events from being held on church property within 90 days of each other, and they held a fall festival. Well, First Liberty Institute says village leaders are being cruel and accused them of targeting the church over religious issues. You know, the only thing worse than a Grinch is a godless Grinch. You can read more about this story at toddstarnes.com.
The Todd Starnes Show begins in 4 minutes. The Todd Starnes Show begins in 2 minutes. The Todd Starnes Show begins in 1 minute.
Live from the Liberty University studio in Memphis, Tennessee, it's common sense conservative commentary from Todd Starnes.
That's right. I love this American ride.
Well, hello, everybody. Welcome, Hour 3 of the Big Show. It is Open Line Friday. That means you get to call in and you can talk about whatever you want to talk about. That's what we do on Fridays. And our telephone number, write this down, 901-260-5926. That's 901-260-5926. Well, I want to go to our Patriot Mobile Newsmaker line, our good friend Michael Wilson from Patriot Talk 920 in Houston. We have a lot of listeners in that part of the country. Michael is boots on the ground at AmFest. Michael, first, good to have you with us. Hope you had a good trip over to Phoenix.
Yes, actually, a lot of my friends, of course, took a flight because Phoenix to Texas may seem like it's only a state over, but it's something like a 20-hour drive. I drove that, so that was incredible. Seeing all the mountain ranges you get out through West Texas, it was great. And then, of course, getting here, the momentum and the energy is just off the charts. I was getting the report numbers as a press member that we have like 31,000 people in attendance. The fire marshal shut down the inside area of the conference center that nobody else could get in, with hundreds, if not thousands, of people still waiting outside watching the TVs of the live stream. It's insane.
Good grief. So you would think they would have had, they would have figured that out, and they would have had like overflow rooms with the giant screens that people could watch.
Yeah, they actually did. They had one overflow room that had a big giant screen, and it was filled up kind of like if you ever been to the library when they do the kids gatherings, everybody's just sitting on the floor watching the big TV. That's exactly what was going on in the main outside room. And then there were people in more overflow rooms that only had smaller TVs. I don't think they ever expected, when they sold out of tickets like 2 months ago, I don't think they ever expected this many people to show up to America Fest. I mean, this is unbelievable. I was here 2 years ago, and there were something like 15 or 16,000 people in attendance. So they've doubled it in just a couple of years. Of course, a lot of people here to honor Charlie Kirk, obviously. And so that's been a big piece of momentum for Turning Point and for this conference.
I'm curious, Erica Kirk, I've got so many questions here. Erica Kirk was pretty quick to announce right off the start of the festival is that they're backing J.D. Vance. He's their guy in the next presidential election. How did that go over?
To be honest with you, I think a lot of people, I think it went one of two ways. And I think we're going to get into this a little bit, that you kind of see, I don't want to say two factions, but people with two different perspectives of what's going on in the political spectrum right now, especially on the right. And, of course, Ben Shapiro and Tucker Carlson are also kind of part of that conversation. I think a lot of people, even who like the campaigning of J.D. Vance, who like the purported policies of J.D. Vance, still have a lot of questions because we're only a year into the Trump administration, not even a year into the Trump administration right now. And J.D. Vance is still a relative newcomer to the political scene. And so I think a lot of people have a lot of questions as to, okay, well, do we want to have longer conversations over the next 3 years, even if we like J.D. Vance now, as to what we're expecting come 2028? And it seems like a big move for Turning Point to already be having that conversation and getting in the jump for J.D. Vance.
Yeah, it's that to me, but I mean, she was pretty emphatic. He's the guy. And so now you wonder, okay, what does that look like? Because, there are plenty of other folks out there that have been talking about running. Ron DeSantis. You've got Glenn Youngkin out of Virginia. You've got Brian Kemp out of Georgia, who's now being mentioned. And, of course, Marco Rubio. And all of those, I think, would be great choices. They have years and years, decades of experience. And to your point, J.D. Vance has not. He has not even done, I don't believe he did a full term in the Senate before he was picked to be Trump's vice president.
No, it was 2 years in the Senate, got vice presidency, and now immediately we're jumping to president with a total of less than 6 years in politics at all. It seems a little bit hasty to me. I'm not going to lie. I'm going to be honest here. I like J.D. Vance a lot. I like a lot of what J.D. Vance says. I think he's very well spoken. I especially love how he handles debates eloquently, as we saw during the vice presidential debates. But if I'm being honest, I think it's a little bit odd and a little bit hasty for an organization, especially already as set as Turning Point, to be backing a candidate come 2028 when there are a wide field of, and let's be honest, really good candidates. Ron DeSantis, undeniably, the worst decision Ron DeSantis ever made was just running against Trump. Ron DeSantis has been absolutely incredible as governor of Florida, one of the best governors, if not the best governor in the nation. And so I think a lot of people are wondering, Usually we have a nomination process where we get to see it out, have debates, and for these big organizations to be coming in and already saying, no, this is the guy who's a relative newcomer, it feels a little bit hasty to me.
For me, that's when you got to tap the brakes a little bit and just remind, hey, folks, you're not running America. This is an organization, a conservative organization, a great organization, but you're not the decision maker here. And that was a little eye-opening. The other part of this is it seemed to be more about Tucker Carlson and Ben Shapiro and Candace and Megyn Kelly than Charlie Kirk or even Turning Point USA last night.
Yeah, absolutely. I want to tell a story. So John Crist, Christian comedian, and this is of course hearsay because he said it, so I'm repeating what he said. He was talking about a party he went to, a Christmas party, relatively recently, where he saw a large group of these people all in the same room, and he said they all are hanging out, talking, shaking hands, giving each other hugs. He said, and I saw them on social media yesterday all going after each other in a variety of ways. And so I can't verify the veracity of that story. What I can say is, for this conference to come out here, right, which is supposed to be, that's why everyone's here, honoring Charlie Kirk. When I was checking in yesterday, everybody's wearing shirts that say, honor Charlie Kirk. They're wearing CK hats, freedom shirts, right? That's why a lot of people are here. And look, I get it that we have to have conversations about what we want the right to look like, what we want conservatism to look like. But it seems like the conference is almost being co-opted as a faction over who's going to have the power now. And I almost think that's the most dishonoring thing we could be doing to Charlie Kirk's legacy. Because Charlie Kirk, if he was good at anything, he was good at maintaining a sort of peace for us conservatives and maintaining a level of coalition building and building strategy. And for everyone to immediately turn around and start going after each other in the conservative movement at the first conference since his passing, I think is incredibly, in my opinion, I think it's incredibly dishonoring to his legacy. I
don't, you know how things are. People are being deified, and I get that. It happens when I get that. The reality is that Turning Point has not been exactly all that about free speech. And I say that because several years back, there was a young lady who raised questions to Tomi Lahren about being pro-choice, and that girl was shut down. There was a young man who, and I disagree with how he framed the question because it was an offensive way of framing the question, but he asked Charlie Kirk a question about gay marriage, and Charlie just shut that guy down. And then I want to play this because this was brought up last night about the USS Liberty and Israel bombing the ship. And this is how Charlie dealt with that same issue. Cut 14.
Sure. So I have a question. So from America First perspective, why do we give $3.8 billion to Israel, which is more aid than we've given to Africa, more aid than we've given to South America, and more aid than we've given to the Caribbean combined, which is home to 1 billion poor people, especially when they deliberately attacked the USS Liberty in the 1970s?
That is incorrect. Do not peddle conspiracy theories in our event. That is not acceptable. Do not say that.
Okay, there you go. So, again, I know revisionist history, but this is how they dealt with things they disagreed with. So, again, I think Turning Point is a fine organization, but still, when you look at the Ben Shapiro, Tucker Carlson, Megyn Kelly, Candace Owens stuff, you really wonder, is this really about Turning Point, or is this about finding out who's going to run Turning Point moving forward?
Right, and not just Turning Point, but what Turning Point is supposed to stand for, right, which is a level of, like, here's the coalition of the right. Here's how we can get people energized for the entirety of the movement, that we can have some minor disagreements within the party, but here's the direction that we want everyone to be moving. That's what Turning Point at least is supposed to kind of represent. And so I think that what's going on with the infighting right now is people deciding who's the boss, really. And my whole take on all of this, Todd, if I'm being honest with you, and I've been talking about this on my show recently because it's kind of made an appearance, especially with the infighting right now. It seems like rather than us caring so much about policy and about points and about logic, people have just started listening to these political pundits as if they are God, as if these people are actually kings. We say, we're a republic, but we listen to these people. We don't critically think. We don't examine the things we're saying. And because of that, when somebody gets something wrong or they get it right, we have to disavow the person rather than the belief. And we have to choose sides in an ongoing war that's just about, who has the better policies. And I think it's getting to a point where I think a lot of people, and I was talking to people yesterday here at America Fest, I think a lot of people are just fed up with it.
And that's what I was curious about. What's the mood of the people there when it comes to all of this stuff?
I'll be honest with you. I got three main answers. And the third group was by far the largest. The first answer was just the Ben Shapiro supporters. They think Candace Owens is crazy and they need to kick out Tucker Carlson and don't ever mention Nick Fuentes' name again. We can't even talk about him. Don't think about him. And then you have the group that says, no, we've won all of that. We love Tucker. We love Candace. I'll listen to Nick, whatever. The biggest group, to my surprise, by the way, the biggest group of what I was hearing, and of course this is anecdotal of who I was talking to, the biggest group of people that just say, why can't we all just get along to a degree and have our disagreements without this needing to be the level of calling each other charlatans and evil and liars? Why can't we just disagree? Why can't we just have debates and have conversations? That's what the right claimed to used to be all about. And it seems like we've lost that a little bit.
Yeah, I'm with you there. It's all just all off-putting to me. And I don't like that whenever, folks have asked legitimate questions about Turning Point, the organization, the accusations of financial irregularities and all that kind of stuff, you're being told, shut up, be quiet. You don't have a right to answer those questions. We're all grieving. And I'm sorry, but when you're posting videos, casket side, and releasing those very private, intimate moments, and because you want people to feel sympathy, which we all do, and you don't have to release that video to make that happen, when you're sending out fundraising data and information, getting people to give money, then I believe you should be able to ask those questions.
And not only ask those questions, Todd, and this kind of, I think, gets also into the heart of what a lot of what's going on. And of course, we all understand this, especially all being in politics. It's a nasty business. And a lot of it is about, well, who's the most entertaining, who's the funniest, who can say it the best, who's the best orator, who's producing the best drama, who's getting the most views. And so instead of it being about what's best for America, right? Instead of, and this is I think the point of America First. Instead of it being about, hey, what can we do to make this country great? How can we all figure out the best way to return to a time of American greatness? It's become, how can I get more views than that other person that I want to be better than? And that, I think, is a real danger for people that are supposed to be helping lead this country.
No, I think that is a great point. But you're right, it's big business. There's so much grift. And I bristle when I hear the term conservative influencer because half of the people we're talking about aren't even conservative. And that's what gets me. But better than, more importantly, I know that Shapiro is out there saying that if you're not condemning all of these people on your platforms, then you're the problem. Well, you know what? And with all due respect to Ben Shapiro, how come he wasn't chewing out Erica Kirk? Because she's the one who invited Tucker Carlson to come and speak at AmFest.
I know.
I mean, if you want to have that conversation.
I know. And that's what's crazy to me is we're sitting at a point in American history where we're dealing. I know that we feel like maybe to a degree we've kind of beaten out the crazies. Are we forgetting what we're still fighting on the left? How many people still want to mutilate our children? How the public school system is still functioning? How bad mass immigration, legal and illegal, still is? Or are we just thinking that right now, well, Charlie's gone, so I guess it's time for all of us to explode, start insulting each other, start grifting more than we ever have before, and prioritize likes and clicks over being genuine people who desire to see this country be great? This is why I love doing a local Houston show. I don't have the sort of, I'll say influence over the national scale to a degree where there's any sort of temptation there. It's so frustrating to see these people who I, to a degree, looked up to and respected, who are coming out, and you can just tell when you hear them speaking that it's more about what's going to get them the views, what's going to get them people talking, what's going to get people invested in their show, than it is about making America great, than it is about prioritizing America. And that just burns me up, Todd.
Yeah, I hear it. I hear it in your voice. All right, we gotta run for a break here, Michael, but we'll touch base with you. I know we've got you on the Newsmax show tonight. We will continue the conversation then. Anyway, still be safe, and if you can, there's something called a Sonora dog, and they have them in Tucson. I know you're in Phoenix, but if you can find one, it's a pretty good meal. A Sonora dog.
A Sonora dog? I've never heard of it. I'm gonna look it up now.
It's like a deep fried hot dog wrapped in bacon or something. It's very good. It'll clog an artery, but you're young. You'll get over it.
Yeah, I'll live. I'll make it happen.
You know what? Order a matcha along with it, and I think it balances it out.
If I get enough of the green stuff, I should be all right. Well, Todd, thanks for having me on, and we'll talk to you and update you later this afternoon.
All right, the great Michael Wilson from Patriot Talk 920 there in Houston, Texas. You see, you're not going to hear that any other place because there is This is all, the narrative is very, very tightly controlled over what's going on at TPUSA right now in the AmFest and all of this nonsense out there, which is why we like to talk to real folks, boots on the ground. Got to take a break. 901-260-5926, Open Line Friday on the Todd Starnes Show.
This is the Todd Starnes Show.
Friends, here's a reality check. Your biggest retirement expense likely isn't groceries or health care. It's taxes. Add inflation eating away at your dollar, and it's easy to see why so many run out of money. Lassiter Capital helps solve that problem by giving you access to real estate investments designed to generate income, protect against inflation, and provide huge tax advantages. Founder Ty Lassiter calls it the 4 keys to investment success. Visit LassiterCapital.com/Starnes or call 817-912-1569 to schedule your free consultation.
America has a new choice for fair and balanced news. ToddStarnes.com. Journalism you can trust from some of the best reporters and opinion writers in the business. ToddStarnes.com takes you to the front lines of the culture war, defending faith, freedom, and your family. ToddStarnes.com also features exclusive interviews with America's top newsmakers like Mike Huckabee, Franklin Graham, and Newt Gingrich. Find out why millions of Americans read ToddStarnes.com every day. It's news you can trust. ToddStarnes.com.
Grandma's Kitchen, where laughter and warm meals mingle. Each bite is a journey through generations. As you gather around the table, complement the meal with Balance of Nature fruits and veggie supplements. Our veggie supplement, made from 15 ingredients like garlic, onion, and cayenne pepper, can easily be opened and added to your favorite dishes like homemade soups or dips. Not to mention our fruit supplement, which is made from 16 ingredients like banana, strawberries, and mango, making it a great addition to your homemade smoothies. So the next time you gather with family, enjoy Balance of Nature supplements as an addition to your favorite dishes. Start your journey with Balance of Nature. Call 1-800-246-8751 or go to balanceofnature.com to get 35% off your preferred set as a new preferred customer with free shipping and our money-back guarantee. That's 1-800-246-8751. Go to balanceofnature.com or call 1-800-246-8751 and get this special offer by using discount code TODD. Balance of Nature's fruits and veggies supplements, changing the world one life at a time.
I'm a 70-year-old man. I'm not a young guy, and I'm an ex-athlete. Well, yeah, when I was taking it, I recognized that I was feeling better. You know what I'm saying? And just mentally knowing is important also.
I am a customer of you guys. I love your product. Love it, love it. Nothing but good things to say about your product. I love it. And as long as y'all are going to sell it, I'm going to take it as long as I can.
Start your journey with Balance of Nature supplements. Call 1-800-246-8751 or go to balanceofnature.com and sign up as a new preferred customer. And for a limited time, get 35% off your first order with free shipping and our money-back guarantee. Go to balanceofnature.com or call 1-800-246-8751 and get this special offer by using discount code TODD.
I learned patience from my adoptive dad. All he had to say was,
"Hey, you got this. Just breathe." Hey, we're pretty good.
Yeah.
Might have to start a band.
I got it.
Learn about adopting a teen from foster care. You can't imagine the reward. Visit adoptuskids.org to find out more. This message is brought to you by Adopt US Kids, the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, and the Ad Council.
Now more than ever, it's important to support companies and organizations that share our values. Patriot Mobile not only shares our beliefs, but they actually do something about it. America's only conservative Christian wireless carrier. And they donate a portion of every dollar to organizations that fight for causes you care about. Switch to Patriot Mobile now and use the promo code TODD to get free activation and a free gift. Veterans and first responders save even more. Go to patriotmobile.com/Todd or call 972-PATRIOT. That's 972-PATRIOT.
Most people out here think that taking care of one another is important. And most people would step up for a neighbor going through a tough time. Most people around here help out friends and family when they need it. But the funny thing is, most of us won't look for help when we need it. Talk to someone if you're struggling with mental health, because most people out here really care. Find more information at loveyourmindtoday.org. That's loveyourmindtoday.org. Brought to you by the Huntsman Mental Health Institute and the Ad Council.
My mom has taken up going to the park to practice yoga.
My dad's going to a club, but not a book club, a salsa club.
Finding new hobbies comes with age.
My mom has started getting lost and not knowing where she's going.
Becoming lost or disoriented doesn't. Confusion with time or place may be a sign of Alzheimer's. An early diagnosis can help improve the quality of life for your loved one. Learn the warning signs of Alzheimer's at 10signs.org. Brought to you by the Alzheimer's Association and the Ad Council.
You know, I just want to listen to Christmas music for a little while, Dylan. Is that okay? Is that permissible? Or
see nothing wrong with that.
Not at all. Not at all. Hey, I came across this great little story. Someone sent this to us, and I love stories like this around the Yuletide season. That would be Christmas. This is from Hamburg Township, Michigan. There was a lovely lady. Her name was Kay Williams. And for decades, she brought cheer to her neighborhood. And the locals in the neighborhood in Hamburg said that Kay was sort of the glue that kept the whole community together. But she's been going through some difficult times of late. And the locals decided to help her out. I mean, she decorates for Christmas these elaborate displays. And, I mean, the kids love it. You know, there's snow everywhere. It's Michigan, so they got a lot of snow. And her little home was a winter wonderland, and the children loved it. For 30 years, Mrs. Williams set up her displays. Well, she's got cancer, and it's been tough. And so the neighbors said, you know what? By golly, we're going to decorate for Miss Kay. And that's exactly what they did. The neighbors, they went over to the house and they pulled out all the decorations and the lights and Santa Claus, the whole 9 yards. And it really was a special moment. Miss Williams, Miss Kay said, you know, my brother died. The neighbors died. I don't see the kids all that often. And she said she lost her husband, Jack, a firefighter. And, you know, life gets tough, and life is tough. And so she's so grateful for the kindness of the neighbors who decided to go that extra mile and bring a little bit of Christmas to the neighborhood there in Hamburg, Michigan. And just a reminder that we got good people out there across this great nation. And we want to salute the good people there in Hamburg Township for bringing a little bit of Christmas cheer to a woman who brought Christmas cheer to her neighborhood for decades. So good on you, all you fine folks there in Michigan. And maybe you've got a great little Christmas story to share with us. You can do that, 901-260-5926. That's 901-260-5926. This is the Todd Starnes Show.
Mama, what does the chicken say?
Chicken. Oh, okay.
When the wolf?
Oh, a wolf.
Ooh! What about the tiny dog? Cat? Owl? Dolphin? What does the turkey say? Whale?
No, whale sound.
Do the giraffe.
Giraffe, really? Okay. Giraffe.
You're not going to get it all right. Just make sure you nail the big stuff, like making sure your kids are buckled correctly in the right seat for their age and size. Get it right.
Visit NHTSA.gov/
the right seat.
Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Hear that? That's the sound of your life. Perfectly imperfect. Beating in rhythm to the world you've created. But every time you drive after drinking, the music gets drowned out. Your life sounds pretty great. Don't let a buzz ruin it. Buzz driving is drunk driving. Don't drive buzzed. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Are you prepared for an emergency or disaster? Because it's not a matter of if, but when. Don't find yourself saying,
I'll trust water bottles and a flashlight to save the day, but I'll be proved wrong.
With a tornado approaching, I'll realize that I lack a wheelchair-accessible shelter.
When the floodwaters rise, I'll be up in the attic with 20 cans of beans. It's a recipe for disaster.
let's prepare so we all have a better story to tell. Get started at ready.gov/older adults. Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
Let's see, if something costs less, but people are happier with it, that sounds like something to look into, and that is MediShare. Maybe you've heard switching to MediShare to pay for healthcare can save many families up to $500 a month, and that is huge. But it's also true that people are way more satisfied after making the switch, too. The member satisfaction rate for MediShare is double that of the typical health insurance plan. Double. MediShare works, too. It's been around for 30 years. Members have shared more than $5 billion of each other's bills. People love having telehealth and a huge nationwide PPO network. So, yeah, really, you can save a ton and like it better. Imagine being happy with how you're taking care of your health care. So if you're self-employed or part of the gig economy, or you just want a plan you're happy with, you can call right now. You'll get a price within 2 minutes. So see what you can save. This is a very, very smart use of 2 minutes. Here's the number you need. Call 844-43-BIBLE. That's 844-43-BIBLE. 844-43-BIBLE.
You said you'd never buy your kid candy from the checkout aisle. Or forget extra diapers. And never give in to a meltdown. You'd never lick your thumb to clean their face. Never let them have too much screen time. And never bribe them for just one more bite. You say you'd never let them out in public without their hair brushed. Never, ever become a minivan mom. And you'd never give them your phone for a quiet dinner.
Calling boss work phone.
So when you say you'd never leave your child in a hot car, no, it can happen. Cars get hot fast, and kids can be at risk in temperatures as low as 60 degrees Fahrenheit. Never happens. Before you leave the car, always stop, look, lock. Brought to you by NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Babes, what are you doing?
What? I'm just mowing the lawn.
No, it's blazing hot and dry out here. Don't you remember? Smokey Bear says.
Avoid using power equipment when it's windy or dry.
Where'd you learn this?
Oh, it's on
SmokeyBear.com with many other wildfire prevention tips.
Right. Thanks, honey bear.
Because remember, only you can prevent wildfires.
Brought to you by the USDA Forest Service, your state forester, and the Ad Council.
What I know about courage, I learned from my adoptive mom. She said sometimes you just gotta hold on and know we'll get through this. Mom, we are so high up. Hold my hand.
No, you hold my hand.
Here we go.
Learn about adopting a teen from foster care. You can't imagine the reward. Visit adoptuskids.org to find out more. This message is brought to you by Adopt US Kids, the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, and the Ad Council.
All right, this is the Todd Starnes Radio Show. And folks, you still have time to pick up some great Todd Starnes Show Christmas swag. Great stuff, including stocking stuffers like my 2 devotion books, our Daily Biscuit, Devotions with a Drawl, and Star Spangled Blessings, Devotions for Patriots. You can get copies of all of those at toddstarnes.com or wherever you buy your books. So we'd love for you to be able to do that. Let's go to the phone lines. Baltimore, Maryland, our wonderful affiliate, WCBM. Jordan is on the line. Hey, Jordan, what's going on?
Merry Christmas to you and the staff. Everybody, excellent. Cassie and Dylan and, of course, Ben Dieter, who isn't there. A Merry Christmas to you, the best of everything in the new year. Your show is always excellent, of course. I remember election night in America, and I was one of the callers on your show because I didn't want to turn on the TV, and you kept me in stitches all the way to 1 o'clock in the morning, and I remember you had to take a little break between 8:30 and 9 o'clock to get some Chick-fil-A.
Oh, this is true. Wow, you have a great memory there, Jordan. That was a fun night. And we love doing election night coverage, and we bring the whole cast of characters out, and you never know what's going to happen, especially with old Ben Dieter around.
I know. I know you keep me laughing all the time. You do. And, of course, we get your show in the rebroadcast, so I don't have a computer or don't have apps or anything like that, so I'm calling you via cell phone, so I'm watching the clock, too, because I know when you go in and out, but we get you from 10 p.m. to 1 a.m., so I at least get to hear that. But I also want to thank you so much for everything you do. I celebrate Hanukkah and your views on Israel and saying kudos to Mark Levin. You've done that all forever, so you're just such a nice person. One day, like I say, when I come to Memphis, I'm going to come to meet you. I wasn't able, you were at the Pikesville Doubletree a few years ago, but I wasn't able to make it when you came to Baltimore.
We did a big event. We did a big event years ago. Wow, it's been a while, but we had so much fun. Did our show there from WCBM. And we had a wonderful time there. Well, Jordan, wow, thank you so much for the kindness. And I have a question about Hanukkah, though. Now, you guys, do you get the presents? Do you give presents every night of Hanukkah? Is that how it works?
It doesn't have to work that way, but when I was growing up, yes, you got something every night, right? You don't have to. Sometimes it's not written in stone, but that's what parents usually did, give their children a gift every night.
You know, Jordan, when I was at Hope P. Sullivan Elementary School in South Haven, Mississippi, I had a Jewish classmate, and we were all envious of him because he got all the presents. And so I went home one day and I told my parents, how come we're not Jewish? I want more presents, Mom.
Well, wait, remember the title you told me the next book you write, not this one that just came out. Your next title is going to be A Bagel with a Schmear.
Yeah, our daily bagel, Devotions with a Schmear.
That daily biscuit was really good, though. When I got it, I read it in one night.
Wow.
It's good for anybody, even for Jewish people. It teaches you wonderful lessons in everyday life.
It does. No, it's a great little book. Thank you for that. Do you have a copy of Star Spangled Blessings yet?
I don't yet.
Well, you know what, Jordan? We're going to take care of that. So we're going to put you on hold, and when we finish up our conversation here, and I'll make sure to send you a signed copy of Star Spangled Blessings in the mail, if that's okay.
Wow, that's a real Hanukkah present.
You see, that'll be Hanukkah present number what?
Oh, God bless. And I wanted to call today. It's the last Friday before it's before Christmas, and I wanted to call and because I don't call that often. But when I do, I just want to make sure it's a great, great call. And you do. I wish you were, we heard you from 12 to 3 regular, but I listen at 10 o'clock at night every night.
Well, we've been working with, they're great people at WCBM, and they are working on that. And I think it would help if our Baltimore listeners, shot them an email or sent them, called at the station and said, hey, we'd like to have Starnes noon to 3. But you have helped solve just now, Jordan. And Dylan, Jordan has helped solve a mystery because I keep getting these messages, and I thought I was being pranked. Because they said, Todd, we love going to bed with you in Baltimore. And I'm like, what? Who are all these people that are going to bed with me in Baltimore? And it turns out they listen to the radio show while they're in bed.
Right. I told Sean.
It makes sense.
Casey, every time I talk to him, we'd like you be on
the great
12
Sean
today.
Casey. Yeah, great guy
Yeah.
there. All right, well, Jordan, happy Hanukkah to you, and thank you for calling in. You just made our day.
Merry Christmas to you and the family and the staff. Thanks so
All right.
much.
Well, thank you. All right, don't go anywhere. Don't hang up. We're going to get your mailing address there. Yeah, Dylan, I thought, has somebody been slipping me something, and I've just forgotten that I have apparently a wonderful dating life?
Yeah. How did you know someone's in your bed every night?
Right. I don't have that many My Pillows. What's going on? All right, let's go to Kathy in Salem, Oregon on KYKN. Hi, Kathy. You know, how can you not be in a good mood after a call like that?
Boy, that's for sure.
Wow.
I wanted to hear about that bagel with a smear.
Well, I'm working. It was something of a joke, but I may have to write one now.
Oh, I thought you did, and I'd never heard of it.
No. Well, the story there, Kathy, is it's a funny story because when I moved to New York City, I wanted to get a biscuit, and they don't have biscuits in New York City. They only have bagels. And the first time I ordered one, it looked like a hockey puck. And I order it, and then the guy looks at me, and I'm fresh off the boat from Tennessee, in downtown, New York City. And the guy says, "Do you want me to smear your bagel?" And I said, "Pardon me, you want to do what to my bagel?" I said, "I'm from Memphis, Tennessee. You don't smear another guy's bagel where I'm from." I may have embellished that slightly, but I wasn't familiar with the smear.
Yeah.
All right, Kathy, what can I do for you?
Well, first of all, have a happy holiday. Have a Merry Christmas.
Well, thank you.
You're very welcome. I wanted to actually tell my fellow Americans, we need to get educated on Islam. America has been ignoring it for too long. We even have people in our prison system that have performed honor killings. And we need to, if we're going to have any intelligent conversations about the topic, and they're forcing it on us, then we need to read up on it. Get educated, folks. Conservatives and Democrats. We're all in their crosshairs, all of us.
Kathy, I think it's a wise thing, and you're right. I mean, even if you're looking at political ideology, they hate Jews, they hate Christians, they think we're infidels, and my greater concern would be for the gays and the lesbians of America, because they're slaughtering those people in those Middle Eastern countries. And that it alarms me, especially when you see, these folks out there and they're just ignorant. And to your point, they're not teaching kids about Islam. I know was it Tuberville or one of the congressmen said it's really not a religion, it's a cult, and it is a death cult. And I think we need to start listening to people here. And to your point, we've got to educate ourselves.
There you go.
Yeah.
Don't take my word for it. Don't take Todd's word for it. Educate yourself.
That's it. Read the Quran and see what it says.
There you go. And you can do it online. You don't have to go out and buy one.
Yeah. That's it. Kathy, great stuff. Now, do you celebrate Christmas? Do you celebrate Hanukkah?
Christmas.
Well, Merry Christmas, Kathy. Hope you and your family have a blessed day.
Thank you. I'm just starting my baking now. So.
Oh, wait a second. You buried the lead. Wait, what? What are you baking?
I'm making it's like a cookie bar, but it's called a Carmelito.
Ooh.
It's got pecans and organic oats and caramel and chocolate. And it's in a bar.
Kathy, I think you're going to have a lot of people wanting to purchase baked goods from you after this show.
How about if I just give them the recipe?
Oh, well, that'll work too. I love that. Well, wonderful. Well, Kathy, again, have a great Christmas. And, man, those Carmelitos sound delicious. Merry Christmas to you and all of our great friends over in Salem at KYKN Country. All right, 901-260-5926, our telephone number. That's 901-260-5926. Hang tight. It is Open Line Friday. We'll be right back.
It's Radio Free America. It's the Todd Starnes Show.
$5,000. That's the average amount of money people in the U.S. are now spending on gas in a year. $5,000. That's crazy. If you drive, you have to download Upside, the free app that gives you cash back every time you get gas. That's right. You can earn real cash back with Upside just by buying the gas you're already buying. You can literally start earning cash back today.
I use Upside every time I fill up, and I've already made around $200-$300.
You're putting gas in your car anyway. Why not get real cash back? If you like free money, download Upside.
I'm saving the cash I earn from using Upside to help pay for a vacation later this year.
Download the free Upside app now to earn cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code WEALTH25 to get an extra 25 cents per gallon on your first tank. You can cash out anytime right to your bank, PayPal, or a gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code WEALTH25 for a 25 cents per gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code WEALTH25 for a 25 cents per gallon bonus.
Hi, this is Todd Starnes. You know you have lots of choices for cell phone service with new ones popping up all the time. But here's the truth. There's only one that boldly stands in the gap for every American and believes that freedom is worth fighting for, and that's Patriot Mobile. The good news is you can switch to Patriot Mobile today without sacrificing quality or service. Worried about coverage? Don't be. Patriot Mobile uses all three major U.S. networks. If you have service in this country today, you'll have as good or better coverage with Patriot Mobile. Think switching is a hassle? Well, it's not. You can keep your number, keep your phone, or upgrade. Patriot Mobile's 100% U.S.-based team will get you activated in minutes from the comfort of your own home. Stuck in a contract or owe money on your phones? No worries. Patriot Mobile has a contract buyout program. This is how we win, folks, by aligning our spending with our values. Every dollar we spend matters. Go to patriotmobile.com/Todd or call 972-PATRIOT. Use promo code Todd and get a free month of service. That's patriotmobile.com/Todd or call 972-PATRIOT. Mike Lindell and MyPillow employees want to thank my listeners for all your continued support. You know, Mike has a passion to help everybody get the best sleep of their life. And he didn't stop by creating the best pillow. He also created the best bed sheets ever. Mike is offering the best deal on his Percale bed sheets. You can get a set for as low as $24.98. The MyPillow Percale bed sheets are breathable and have a cool, crisp feel. They have deep pockets to fit over any mattress. They look great, they feel great, and that means an even better night's sleep for me, which is crucial for my busy schedule. Also, for a limited time, when you order over $100 worth of merch, you're going to get $100 in free digital gifts. Go to MyPillow.com and use promo code STARNS to receive the MyPillow Percale sheets for as low as $24.98. Order now or call 800-839-8506 and use promo code STARNS. That's 800-839-8506. Use promo code STARNS.
Get hurt in the game? We tough it out. Feel exhausted? We push on. Feeling down? We pull ourselves up by the bootstraps. But there are times when bootstraps aren't enough. When stress gets to us and we need to talk to someone about what we're really going through. So we're going to reach out because sometimes mental health is not a one-person job. Visit loveyourmindtoday.org. That's loveyourmindtoday.org. Brought to you by the Huntsman Mental Health Institute and the Ad Council.
My mom has decided to learn to paint, and she's good.
My dad's now into creative cuisine, and I've already put on 6 pounds.
Learning new things comes with age.
My mom, she started forgetting my name and what we're talking about.
Forgetting well-known things doesn't. Memory loss may be a sign of Alzheimer's disease. Early detection gives you and your loved one time to plan for the future. Learn the warning signs of Alzheimer's at 10signs.org. Brought to you by the Alzheimer's Association and the Ad Council.
All right, welcome back, everybody. This is the Todd Starnes Radio Show. Can I just give a shout out to law enforcement all across America? You know, we take them so much for granted. But I have to tell you, especially during the Christmas season, many of them are going to be working Christmas Eve, Christmas Day, New Year's Eve, New Year's Day, and they're not going to be with their families. They're probably going to be eating, something over at the precinct house or the fire station. And also, in addition to all of the other things they're doing just to keep us safe, many of them are going the extra mile, making sure poor boys and girls, less fortunate families in the country are going to have a Christmas this year. And in many cases, these officers are reaching into their own back pockets to pull out money out of their wallets to make sure that these kids have Christmas. And so when you see a police officer, a firefighter, a first responder, be sure to thank them for the great work they're doing. And I also want to give a shout out to the Memphis Police Department, because they have been, it's like literally giving away thousands of toys to children, over 4,000 toys to 300 children across the city of Memphis this holiday season. So God bless you all for the great work you're doing. Let's go to the phone lines here. 901-260-5926. Wayne in North Carolina wants to weigh in on the Minnesota-Somali situation. Hey, Wayne, what's going on?
Well, thank you for taking my call, and I echo about backing the Blues, so start out with that. But I'm pretty pleased about the accountability and the direction that we're going right now, especially with the DOJ, FBI, DEA, all these people and stuff. And the problems with that Somalian fraud in Minnesota, which I'm, originally from Minnesota, so it kind of bothers me a little more than the most person. But back when Ilhan Omar, back in like 2019, when she became a member of Congress, her financial statement said she had a negative net worth of between like 15,000 and minus 15 to minus 65,000 net worth. And today there's estimates as high as 30 million. And I understand she's got a husband, maybe got some businesses, but couldn't they put all this to bed by there should be some serious tax consequences that could easily be proven with all of these numbers, and kind of get to the bottom and dispose of the accusations one way or the other. It's kind of an observation, but I do think that the tax consequences should be a direction that they should go a little faster than they're doing now.
What do you think about this idea, Wayne? What if we have great tax people, great accountants in many small towns across America. What if we get like a delegation of those? We'll put together a committee of just small town tax guys or gals, send them to Washington, D.C., and do a deep dive. They could actually audit all of the expenses and all the money coming in from these lawmakers, because there's no way that Ilhan Omar is a legitimate multimillionaire. There's something going on there. So I'd love for a group, a delegation of tax accountants to go in there and do a deep dive into all of their all of their bank accounts, the whole nine yards.
I think that's an excellent idea, and it would create some probably better paying jobs for those people doing the audits. And probably the worst case is we stop the fraud. I mean, I don't know that what we can recover at this point, but at least stop it.
I'm with you 1,000%. And if nothing else, we can recoup the money by making them, pick up trash on the sidewalks or whatever, cleaning some bathrooms.
I had one other idea.
Real quick, yeah.
Kicking around with maybe I'm not really for deporting all Somalians. I think they deserve fairness, but shouldn't we maybe do a repledge of allegiance and coming with a warning or something like this, and like this is the expectations in the future, or else? Yeah, I've got no problem with that. So yeah, good thought, Wayne. Thank you for that. Merry Christmas to you. Dylan, I'm curious if you've ever heard of this Yuletide tradition. Have you ever I can't.
What?
Have you ever hid the pickle?
Hid the pickle?
Hid the pickle.
Where would I? Well,
you hide the pickle. It is not a euphemism. This is actually a Christmas time tradition where, and I never did understand this because I remember we used to have like a glass pickle on the Christmas tree as like an ornament. And it's actually a legitimate old school Christmas time tradition.
Okay.
Where mommy and daddy, you have a glass pickle ornament and you hide the pickle ornament somewhere in the Christmas tree. And the first child on Christmas morning, and you always hide it on Christmas Eve when the children go to bed. And then when they wake up and the next morning, the first child to find the pickle gets an extra Christmas present.
That's kind of fun. That's kind of like Elf on the Shelf, but pickle in a Christmas tree.
Yeah, with it's pickled.
Pickled. You know, that's confusing in my house, or because my name is Dylan, so people call me Dill, like Dill Pickle. So I've been given pickle ornaments before, but they've never been, I've never had to go and look for them inside the Christmas tree. So
they'd also recommend that you not actually take an actual dill pickle and put it on the tree. That would be a little messy.
Yeah, that's probably smart.
Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. So there you go. You're learning something new every day here on the Todd Stearns Radio
Very
Show.
Fun. Yes.
All right, don't forget tonight, 5 o'clock Eastern, everybody, the Todd Stearns Show on Newsmax. We're going to take you live to AmFest. We have a lot of great interviews. Also, Congresswoman Mary Miller is going to join us. President Trump is holding a big rally in North Carolina. That's later tonight. You'll be able to watch that on Newsmax as well. Don't forget, ToddStearns.com. Download our free newsletter, our free podcast, and you can buy some great Christmas presents. Love for you to get a copy of Star Spangled Blessings. All right, been a great broadcasting week, everybody. We're going to do it all again on Monday. In the meantime, you have a great Friday, and whatever you do, be sure to go to church this weekend, America.
Balance of Nature's fruits and veggies and fiber and spice supplements. Our ingredients are 16 whole fruits, 15 whole vegetables, 4 powerful